West closed. That won't reopen for another 20 minutes. The KMOX forecast, sponsored by St. Louis City SC. Watch for slick spots with temperatures hovering in the low 30s. A shower or rain or snow around this evening. Then partly cloudy, cold later tonight. Watch for icy spots this evening, the low of 27. Right now it's cloudy, 36. It feels like 31 downtown at the Arch. The new MLS club is now hiring stadium employees for their historic inaugural season. To work for St. Louis's professional soccer team, visit stlcitysc.com/jobs. That's stlcitysc.com/jobs. I'm Carol Daniel, KMOX News.
Get locked into You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM, with Nick Kostos and Ken Barkley on the BetQL network.
I still think it's Tampa, but I may be going down with the pirate ship on that.
But yeah, I mean, this might be a sinking pirate ship. I mean, who are you going to pick? The Niners? They don't have any players left. You're going to pick the Packers? Desperately need to trade for a wide receiver, and one just went to Arizona. Maybe the other one will go to Green Bay.
You Better You Bet, 3 to 7 p.m. Eastern from the BetQL network.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends Mark and Neil Gelman from the GelmanTeam.com. If you want immediate cash for your home or to see what your home is actually worth in today's market, find out for free from the local experts. That's my friends Mark and Neil Gelman at the GelmanTeam.com.
Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Julia owed the IRS thousands.
I was paralyzed with fear.
Then
I heard a commercial for Optima Tax Relief.
Optima Tax Relief is the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and experts in the Fresh Start Initiative.
Optima Tax Relief settled my IRS tax bill.
Call Optima now for a free consultation.
It was amazing.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Bring your family to the 4th annual Moolah Festival of Trees to experience a winter wonderland with over 40 exquisitely decorated Christmas trees with amazing gift packages November 19th through 26th at the Moolah Shrine. Purchase raffle tickets for just $1 for a chance to take home one or more of these creative and beautifully designed trees, including the gifts, which include toys, tools, sports items, kayaks, barbecue pits, gift cards, and even a complete HVAC system for your home. Tree values range from $500 to over $12,000. The Festival of Trees is an exciting Christmas event for all ages. You can take a souvenir photo with Santa Claus to capture a memory of the spirit of Christmas. And be sure to visit Santa's Cafe for some refreshing treats. Adult admission is $2. Kids 12 and under are free at the Moolah Shrine Center at 12545 Fifi Road. Details at moolah.org.
It's Thursday Night Football as the Titans take on the Packers. Catch the game here. Kickoff at 7. The Titans. The Packers. Football on America's Sports Voice. KMOX.
All right, it's 10:35 on the show. Chris Ranji, Amy Marks, Scores, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Happy to have Joe Blanner with us in studio. Joe is the treasurer for the St. Louis Regional Convention and Sports Complex Authority, those that oversee the Dome and such things. And, of course, Joe, good morning. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. We talk a lot about the Rams money, right? We do on this show. I know it's covered a lot, both in our news department on KMOX and the newspaper all the time. So just give us an update. You guys passed a resolution last week about an idea for the long-term good of the authority. And obviously, you know, a lot of us are talking about the long-term good of the city and county as well. I know that's not what you guys are covering, but just tell us what you guys came across or what you came up with in the resolution last week, and then we'll kind of follow up from there.
Sure. So we passed the resolution at our meeting on Wednesday, and the purpose of the resolution was twofold. The first thing that we wanted to do is we wanted to make sure that a sufficient fund was set aside for the preservation and maintenance of the stadium itself. Since we're commissioners, our primary objective and obligation is to take care of the facility. And at present, the city, state, and county contributions to the preservation and maintenance of that facility sunset at the beginning of 2024. And so going forward, there are no significant sources of revenue for the stadium. And so we need to make sure that a portion of these settlement funds that were ultimately derived from the stadium itself are set aside so that we can make sure that the stadium is taken care of. Beyond that, the resolution did a second thing, and that was after a portion of the fund is set aside for preservation, we wanted to state as a policy position that the remainder of the fund should be set aside for meaningful community benefit and transformative economic purposes, purposes that would last beyond the current situation that we find ourselves in. We want these funds. If we look out ahead 10 years, we want to look back and say these funds had a significant and meaningful economic impact on the St. Louis region. And so that was a goal statement that we made. Again, so the first thing we wanted is we want funds to be set aside for the stadium. And then after that, we wanted to make sure that there were sufficient funds, that all of the remaining funds would be used for transformative purposes.
And when you say a portion of the funds will be set aside, any ballpark of what that portion is?
Well, we know at present we get about $4 million per year, $2 million from the state, $1 million from the city, and $1 million from the county. And we have $6 million more coming in off of those contributions before it sunsets. At that point, we have $14 million in savings right now. We'll have a total of $20 million. We spend about $2.5 million per year. So you can figure out how long the existing funds that we have would last. And the convention center has to continue to function and utilizes the dome for conventions and events. So there needs to be, at least for a certain duration, there needs to be sufficient funds to take care of the facility.
And about $500 million will be split between St. Louis County, St. Louis City, and then the St. Louis Regional Convention and Sports Complex Authority. But you don't know yet how that money will be split up?
Well, the resolution doesn't really get into to who gets what, or even for that matter, how it's to be spent. Really, the resolution's purpose was to state a goal. I think the first thing we need to do is we need to collectively come to some type of consensus about what is the intention with regard to these funds, and then we can, once that is done, we can start thinking about how the funds are to be used and then what they're to be used on.
That's it seems to be the question for all the entities involved. Everybody says they want, and you use this word transformative, you want whatever projects, whatever the money is spent on, to be something that lasts for a long time or has long lasting effects. What does that look like as far as the dome is concerned, as far as that convention center is concerned? If we're talking about something that can positively affect St. Louis for years to come, what sorts of things are we talking about?
Well, I mean, in terms of the dome itself, it just needs to be maintained and preserved. And there are capital improvement needs that are going to be coming, like roofs or upgrading scoreboards or things like that. But in terms of the remainder of the funds, there are a variety of different ways that other regions have addressed this. We're not the first region to have experienced a windfall settlement. There's other areas that we can look to that have already gone down this road and put things in place on how to utilize the bulk of the funds. And, so there's a variety of approaches. Three specific approaches come to mind, but that doesn't mean that one of these has to be utilized. But, one approach that's been suggested is you take the residue of the funds, you invest it, and you spend down the interest like an endowment. So that's one possible option. It doesn't necessarily mean that's what has to happen. That's just one option. A second option is if you had certain catalytic projects that were already shovel ready, or initiatives that were ready to move forward on, that were going to have a transformative, long-term, multi-generational impact, then you could invest in those things. A third approach might be you take the principal and the accrued interest, and you set aside a certain amount that you're going to spend of the principal and accrued interest each year until you spend down the entire amount. So there's different approaches, and different regions have utilized different approaches. The key and what we're saying right now is that we want to make sure that whatever approach is taken, that the money has the biggest possible impact on the region.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're really moving the conversation from, I think, people's initial take, which is, okay, how much does the city get? How much does the county get? How is it going to be used? And you're saying, let's give this money as much life as possible so we can do as much with it as possible, which I think is, it seems like a practical idea when everyone in the St. Louis area probably is injected with a little bit of cynicism when we look at the $1 billion spent on a runway at Lambert that isn't being used, and we think, okay, it's going to be money that's argued about and somehow it's spent, and we're not going to be able to point our fingers to say that's where this money helped improve the city. And this at least is not only giving more life to the money, but it opens up more possibilities.
I think that's exactly what we're saying with the resolution. We're again, we're not telling anyone how they're to spend the money or who's to spend it. We're looking at this and saying, when we get down the road, we want to make sure that this money has the biggest possible impact. And so what we need to do at this point is, at least from the RSA's perspective, is we need to analyze what the different approaches are and try to figure out what approach makes the most sense to have the most impact. But yeah, so I agree with what you said.
Joe, I mean, this is obviously in large part about keeping the Dome and the convention center competitive, right? I mean, we've got competitors in cities all the way around us, pretty much every direction you could go. So the best thing possible is clearly to have something that keeps us competitive long term, as opposed to things that once you spend the money, it's gone. And we talked to Tim Fitch last week, and that was kind of a point that he made, that you want whatever you're going to do to have a big impact on the long term, not just be done, and then once the money's gone, it's gone.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, that is what we want. I mean, we want to make sure that the money has the biggest possible impact. And, certainly the facility itself has certain needs. I think one common misconception, we think that because we lost the Rams, that somehow, there's a large loss of income associated with that. But I think something that people often forget is that when the Rams were here, pursuant to their agreement, the facility itself was dark for 8 months out of the year. And so since they're not here now, the CVC is actually able to book more events. So there's a lot of things that actually go on. I think people don't know necessarily that there's a regional volleyball tournament that brings in 100 teams or whatever the case is. They don't know those things are going on, but those things are filling hotel rooms. They're bringing outside dollars into St. Louis. They're generating tax revenue. And and in some ways, we often think about the loss attributable to Rams. The reality is there may be more money coming in to the convention center at this point, associated with outside events that couldn't have otherwise booked, but now can. So, but that doesn't really get to the heart of the issue. The heart of the issue that we're focusing on at this point is, yes, a portion of the money needs to be set aside for the stadium to make sure that it's there and we can keep booking events and keep generating money for the city and the county. But the rest of it, how does the rest of it get spent? And that's, to your point, and we are trying to shift the narrative at this point to make sure that we start looking at what is the goal. What's the goal?
Mm-hmm. With the $200 million expansion, just a little over 200 mil, right? With that, with what the center has to offer, how competitive is it with other convention centers in the region? So, Indy and Chicago and Kansas City, whatever. I mean, how competitive is this compared to, the other cities around?
Well, I don't want to speak for Kitty Ratcliffe and the CVC. They're the ones that actually operate the convention center and the Dome. So the RSA is actually only owns and is responsible for the Dome itself, which obviously adjoins the convention center. My understanding from talking with Kitty is that there are upgrades that need to be made to the convention center to be more competitive with cities like Indianapolis, but she would be a better person to ask those questions
Sure.
of.
I know St. Louis politics is nothing if not contentious, and we're dealing
confusing,
At least
drawn
it's fun.
out.
And you've got Sam Page, the St. Louis County Executive's office, and Mayor Tashara Jones in St. Louis City, and of course the Convention and Sports Complex Authority. How are discussions going in general among those three groups? Are the offices meeting? Are they speaking primarily through lawyers at this point?
Well, there have been ongoing discussions. I can't really speak to the specifics of those discussions, but there have been ongoing discussions. I'm sure there are going to continue to be ongoing discussions, and the discussions aren't exclusively through lawyers. I'll say that, but there are ongoing discussions.
Great. That's good information. I mean, I think when we saw this story last week, we're like, okay, this makes sense. We want to make sure that this is going to be a lasting benefit because, look, having an event or having a team, while, as you point out, it books up the arena, it is also like a long-term commitment. Like there are years and years and years of generating revenue and things along those lines. And it's good to hear that there are at least some ideas and plans in place that can keep that going because we all want what's good for the downtown area. We want what's good for the region, especially downtown, because we need more reasons for people to come down here, stay down here, come from out of town. And we've been talking about that for a long period of time. And thank you for joining us. I appreciate you coming in studio and hanging out with us. We're sorry for our behavior during the breaks because we're a bunch of children, but great information, Joe. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
That's Joe Blanner. He's the treasurer for the St. Louis Regional Convention and Sports Complex Authority, obviously giving us an update on their resolution passed last week. Trending coming up next on the show.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. Yes, I've used the services of Banner Construction now 6 times on 2 different homes. One of the safest investments you can make today is an exterior renovation to your home. And Banner Homes have timeless beauty, striking curb appeal, and ultra-low maintenance. If you take pride in your home, trust it to the team of experts at Banner Construction. If you're looking for windows, you should know that Banner is a James Hardie Elite Preferred Contractor. James Hardie Fiber Cement Siding has the rich look and feel of wood. And Banner's also a platinum certified Pella window contractor. Those Pella windows are beautiful and they come with a 30-year warranty. Since 1993, my friends at Banner have engineered their projects to go beyond the basic low-cost solutions. That's more than 25 years of experience. And now is the perfect time to plan for this important project and do what the Brennans do. Call on the experts at Banner. They're ready to help. Call 314-569-1050 or bannerconstruction.com.
Get ready for a one-of-a-kind audio-visual experience. Timeless and everlasting. KMOX welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve, the best of TSO and more. Live in concert, 3 p.m. Saturday, December 10th at Enterprise Center. Don't miss this holiday tradition. $1 of each ticket sold to the 3 p.m. show will go to SSM Health Cardinal Glennon. Get full ticket and show details on the events page at KMOX.com.
If you're concerned about the current market and the 40-year record high inflation that we're seeing, you're not alone.
Credit card usage skyrocketing and at record highs, savings rates plunging. It's 100% certainty that you're in recession now.
The good news is, for decades, Steve All and his team have been helping people just like you protect and grow your income. And most importantly, not run out of money.
My clients that are currently sitting there on guaranteed incomes, they're not really worried about what's happening in the market. So they're more at peace because every month that paycheck comes in.
Call Steve today for your customized market protection plan, 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or visit yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities. Licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
Staying warm this winter is the utmost importance for your family and your employees. So when it comes to residential or commercial electric, Reinhold Electric is the answer. I'm going to give you their number in just a moment, but if you have any issues with power to your furnaces, baseboard heaters, hanging electric heaters maybe in your shop or your garage, floor heat, driveway heat, snow melt systems, how about backup generators? Because when the power goes out during winter storms, there is nothing like having a backup generator in line that will fire up as soon as the public utilities shut down. It's a phenomenal experience. My father installed one years ago. It's the best money he ever spent. Reinhold Electric can do that for you. So when you have a residential or commercial need of electric work being done, call on Reinhold Electric. They work all over the area, all the way down to Lake of the Ozarks as well. Call them at 314-631-1158. That's 314-631-1158 and online at ReinholdElectric.com. Tell them Bo sent you to Reinhold Electric.
The holidays are here, but for some families, they'll spend that time at SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. I'm Carol Daniel. KMOX, along with all of our sister stations at our company, Odyssey STL, are again proud to partner with you and other generous St. Louisans in our community to raise funds for the Tree of Hope campaign for Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. It's so easy to give. Just text the word HOPE to 20357 or KMOX.com/Cardinal Glennon.
Home Sweet Home mission is to give underserved families a sense of pride and to improve the quality of their lives by providing basic household furnishings. To learn more, go to homesweethomestl.org. Charlie Brennan sees clearly thanks to Dr. Birdie and Malhotra. You can too. Go to youridoc.com today. or call 314-966-5000.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Echo's new dishwashers use 1/3 the energy and half the water of U.S. standards for dishwashers. And from now until December 31st, you can save up to $200 in gift card rebates on eligible models. Visit Becco.com for more details. That's Becco.com.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444. This is the show. The show continues on KMOX.
What is it? What's happened? What's going on? What do you know?
What just happened?
What happened?
I need to know.
Trending now on the show.
All right, it's 10:52. Trending is brought to you by Old Town Donuts in Florissant and Cottleville. I clicked on the little trending button on my Twitter.
Yeah.
And the first thing that I see, the very first thing at the top of the list that's trending is ivermectin.
Oh, for God's sake. What now? What?
Now, this is not what you might think. There's a scandal brewing with a company that really pushed ivermectin.
Mm-hmm.
Their CEO embezzled money or something along those lines. So, yeah. So here's the tweet that I saw. And once I clicked on it, it says, "Remember the doctors group pushing ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine as COVID cures?" It says, "I've got a story today where the money they earned, at least $10 million, where it went. Involves a mansion, a $100,000 private jet trip, and an underwear model."
Oh,
wow.
So that's
let's hear about this model.
I didn't click the story yet, but it's on the Daily Beast.
No.
I have a trending that I think needs some explaining because I don't quite understand it. But Mr. Terrific is trending.
It is?
Mr. Terrific. And it
Sure that's not just yours?
Hold on a second. I'm not done with it. Ivermectin yet. What are you moving on
You're
from?
not done? Oh my gosh.
Let's get back to
Horses.
ivermectin.
I'm so done with
Horses.
Horse. We don't need no horses. All right. Never mind. Go ahead.
That was it. Okay, talk about ivermectin, Ron.
No,
You
I don't
looked
want to.
excited.
I don't want to because I have something better.
Oh my gosh.
We
All
have
right.
reached a milestone.
Mr. Terrific, by the way, is a comic book thing James Gunn tweeted.
Oh.
It's a potential character in a movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
because James Gunn is handling
Yes.
DC now, right?
Yes.
James Gunn from?
St. Louis.
That's right. DC Comics now. He's in charge of DC Comics. So
Nice.
hopefully there's improvement because they are
The
not
movies,
great.
right?
Mr.
Yeah, the
Terrific.
movies.
Mr. Terrific is DC, not Marvel.
Well, I don't know. James Gunn tweeted it, so I'm guessing so.
It's got to be.
I'm not steeped in that.
See, I thought you
World.
were. That's why
No,
I
I'm
thought.
into the movies. I'm not into the whole world, like the
Oh.
comic book world. I don't
Oh.
read.
Well, I don't think you read comic books. Don't you just look at them?
Yeah, you just look at him.
No.
You just look at him.
They have stories, Amy.
Do they?
Yeah. Jeez.
We have
They're like,
reached
you guys in your picture books.
we have reached a milestone
What's that?
on the planet.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
good.
8 billion people.
Let's go.
We are
Way to
now
go,
at
folks. We did it.
we did it. We're up to 8 billion people. Today
Mhm.
is the day that we reached a population, a total global population of 8 billion people. It was like 6 billion 2 years ago. So people
it?
out there doing a lot of, you know what,
Baby making.
baby making.
Did they have like balloons for the 8 billionth baby?
Yes, we inflated one balloon for every person on the planet. And we have caused a huge environmental catastrophe.
That'll be like a new island in
The
the
wha-
Pacific.
The whales are pissed.
Yeah.
They're all going to end up in the ocean.
Yeah, they did project, what was it? We're going to get to 10 billion in 2050. Is that what they said?
Oh, really?
Something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
8 billion. To be
Hey.
honest, I thought we were at 8 billion before.
It is-
No,
well,
I thought
it
we
was
were
so-
at. I thought we were at like 7.
No, it was so close.
like-
You're rounding up, right?
I mean, yeah.
Once we got to 7.5 billion, you're rounding up.
I swear we were at 6.5 in like 2010.
Wait, you're just spitballing this, or do you have
Seems like it
the
because I feel like
receipts?
we were talking about 6.5 billion people a decade ago.
I remember when there was just a billion.
No, you don't.
No, I don't.
You're so weird.
Oh, is he?
What was it though that I'm forgetting the dates, but somebody on Total Information AM mentioned this today when they were talking about this story. It might have been on the CBS News that it took like from the dawn of time until I forget what the date was to get to a billion. Oh no, it was still the Industrial Revolution
Mhm.
to get to a billion. And since then, we've gone to 8 billion.
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, by the way,
Exponential growth, baby.
There we go. Technology and stuff.
happy birthday to Macho Man.
Who?
Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, today's his birthday.
Let me tell you, brother. Wait, that was
Also,
Hulk Hogan. Sorry.
Randy is not alive to celebrate,
I
but it is
know,
his
but it's still
birthday.
his birthday. Hey, coming up
It was
after
like
the top
10
of the
years
hour
ago.
news, a little bit more on Twitter. Ian Scher is going to join us from CNET here on the show.
You had a solid retirement dream, sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with Truehold. Truehold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And Truehold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since Truehold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit Truehold.com and discover how much Truehold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's Truehold.com.
Now your Bite This Network traffic report. It looks like every vehicle in the country is currently headed to Hardee's for a saucy A1 double cheeseburger for only $2.99. You heard that right. Every single car, truck, and annoying electric scooter thing all heading to Hardee's. But don't take a detour. Hit the brakes on your hunger with a Charbroil Double Deal. Bite into the new A1 double cheeseburger for only $2.99, only at Hardee's. Tax not included. Available for limited time at participating Hardee's restaurants. Price may vary. A1 is a registered trademark of Kraft Foods used with permission.
Hotel St. Louis is looking forward to sharing Thanksgiving at your home or ours. Bring your party to Union 30 or take Union 30 home. Either way, Hotel St. Louis does the hard part. Traditional turkey or ham with all the trimmings, sides, and desserts to choose from. Relax and enjoy the feast with your guests in your home or at the magnificent Union 30 in the historic St. Louis Hotel. To order or make reservations, call Union 30 this week at 314-241-4300. That's 314-241-4300.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Spark Co-working St. Louis is a new collaborative workspace located within the PwC Pennant Building in Ballpark Village. The Spark Co-working community supports the thriving St. Louis entrepreneurial ecosystem, where you can live, work, and watch the Cardinals play all within one district. The all-inclusive workspace includes furnished month-to-month offices and suites with stadium, city, and arch views, concierge mail service, nitro cold brew coffee on tap, and so much more. Call 314-278-5297 or visit spark-stl.com.
Hello, this is Chad Clayman. You can find us online at claymangroup.com, KLAMEN group.com. If you own investment and rental properties and you've been thinking about selling, we are very interested. The market is very strong. We've been very aggressive with our offers. So if you own a package of single-family houses that you'd like to sell, or one single-family rental property you'd like to sell, apartments or commercial investment property, please reach out and we can provide you a very simple transaction. Complete the form online and start the conversation today. claymangroup.com, KLAMEN group.com.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 11 o'clock, it's a cloudy sky and 37 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour. After a humiliating retreat from one southern city, Russia is lashing out again at Ukraine with a barrage of missile attacks. More from CBS News correspondent Cammie McCormick.
Around 100 Russian missiles rained down on Ukraine, many in cities from Kyiv to Lviv in the west. Air raid sirens blared and explosions rang out in nearly a dozen major cities. At least one civilian apartment block was hit in Kyiv, and half the capital was left without power. The widespread attacks come 4 days after Russian troops fled Kherson in the south. The Biden administration has strongly condemned these strikes.
Republicans are on the cusp of retaking control of the House, just one victory shy of the 218 seats the party needs to secure a majority. The full scope of the party's majority may not be clear for several more days or weeks as votes in competitive races are still being counted. Still, the party is on track to achieve 218 with seats states in California and other states too early to call. Former President Trump is set to formally announce a new bid for the White House tonight.
The former president's announcement is scheduled for 9 p.m. Eastern from his Florida resort, but it comes as some Republicans are blaming him for their losses in the midterm elections, including multiple Trump-backed candidates who focused on his false claims of a stolen 2020 election.
CBS's Allison Keyes. Students hid inside laboratory closets and dorm rooms across the University of Virginia after getting warnings of an active shooter. Responding to the immediate threat of an on-campus shooting was a moment they had prepared for since their first years of elementary school. Police spent 12 hours searching for the suspect before taking a 22-year-old student into custody yesterday morning. Students across the campus barricaded doors and slept in libraries during the search. A big day for soccer fans.
The festivities begin at noon tomorrow as St. Louis City SC reveals their jersey for the inaugural season.
Meet me in St. Louis.
And then at 4 o'clock, the St. Louligans are tailgating at Schlafly, then marching to City Park. And all of this is leading to the main event where the first ever game will be played at the new MLS Stadium. City 2 is taking on a German team, Bayer Leverkusen. Gates open at 5:30, kickoff at 7:08. KMOX will have the play-by-play. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
The First Mid Bank and Trust Business Desk, a good time for retailers.
Walmart raising its forecast after strong quarterly sales. The company says it has significantly improved its inventory position and it continues to gain market share in its grocery business. Home Depot posting strong third quarter results, but customer transactions at the home improvement chain fell more than 4% from a year earlier. That suggests that growth is being driven by inflation rather than a jump in sales. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
The Dow from Stifel's up 201 points to 33,737. Vehicle fire on Cary West at 70 West. The left lane closed. An emergency vehicle 70 West at Broadway. Stalled vehicle 44 West before Arsenal. There's a crash on 6440 East at 364 East, the left shoulder. And a crash on 30 West past Gravois Bluffs. That's also on the left shoulder.
KMOX AccuWeather, rather cloudy, damp, cold this afternoon. There are going to be some showers and rain or snow around later this afternoon, this evening as we hold in the mid-upper 30s. And then cold later tonight as we clear out of it. Watch for icy spots down to 27. And then a couple of afternoon flurries up to 34 tomorrow. Low 40s Thursday. Colder low 30s Friday. And then upper 30s to near 40 on Saturday as the cold air continues to be around. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Dean DeVore, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Cloudy sky, 36 in Florissant, 37 in St. Peters, and 37 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
It's 11:04 on the show. Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores, Kevin Wheeler with you here on a Tuesday. Happy to be joined by Ian Scher, or maybe not, as his Twitter handle says. His Twitter handle now is maybe Ian Scher, maybe not. Either way, the editor at large for CNET. Ian, first of all, incredibly well played with the Twitter handle. And obviously, this is part of why we reached out to you when we did, because of all the things that are going on with Twitter. Thanks for joining us, man. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. In fact, I can't change it now, so I can't even say
Oh, yeah.
Ian Scher.
Oh, yeah. So,
That's awesome. It's a joke, which, I mean, a lot of people would say that is anyway, but yeah.
So this is all pretty good time, huh?
Yeah, I mean, look, this has been really an amazing thing to watch. And look, I mean, I, as much as anyone, enjoy a good popcorn moment, right? But I think what is really important to keep in mind here is while we are, having a lot of fun watching this kind of implosion by the world's richest man, the reality is that Twitter is much more than just a place we all can point and laugh at. And like I said, I'm happy to do it with you. But I think, the thing that I always keep in mind is that this is one of the most influential communications platforms in the world, right? It's literally presidential policy has happened on Twitter. If you look at social movements, right? The Arab Spring, Me Too, Black Lives Matter, all of these things have happened on Twitter. And so, in a lot of ways, what's really kind of tough about this is that even though a lot of us don't even want to log into Twitter or think about it, and a lot of people don't, the reality is that it's very influential. And that's why it's kind of something we can't look away from.
Yeah, when you look at social media platforms, I know the phrase is used that Twitter outpunches its weight class because it is.
Oh, by far.
Yeah, it's the least used compared to Instagram or Facebook or TikTok. But those who use it tend to be people with a lot of power or sway in the world, whether it's politicians or journalists are on there, athletes, celebrities, what have you. So I always say it's a fake world with real world consequences, and it's a big deal when you have people when you have accounts impersonating Eli Lilly or politicians.
Yeah, well, and the Eli Lilly thing was amazing because talk about real repercussions. I mean, some people's 401ks were hit by that. So if you hadn't heard, right, one of the things Elon Musk has done as he's taken over Twitter is he's decided that the blue check marks that a lot of journalists and celebrities have creates a status symbol, right? That it's seen as kind of a two-tier system, right? There's the blue check marks and everyone else. And, the unfortunate reality was that he decided, okay, well, to make it more equitable and fair, I'll just charge $8 a month and anyone can get a blue check mark. And suddenly we had people who signed up, set up an account, pretended to be Eli Lilly, the major pharmaceutical company, and said, they got that blue check mark. They put the logo in, made it all seem real. And then they said all insulin will be free, which was not true. And it caused Eli Lilly's stock to drop some $20 billion in value. It was enormous, right? And Eli Lilly ended up having to put out a statement saying that wasn't true. And it's all because that blue check mark, right, you could get for $8. And all sorts of others followed through. I mean, there was someone who pretended to be former President George W. Bush, saying that they missed it causing war. And then there was another person who pretended to be Tesla, right? Elon Musk's other company, saying that their favorite movie was Total Recall because that's what's going to happen to all their cars. So it's just incredible to see what's going on here.
We always tend to default, or a lot of people, millions of people, default to Elon knows what he's doing. He's a genius. He owns a car company and a rocket company. So therefore, he knows what he's doing, and we should all just go ahead and follow him. And if you follow his tweets over the last couple of weeks, he doesn't really seem to acknowledge that it is a complete crap show right now. Does he know does he know what he's doing?
Look, I can't speak for what is in his head, right? I think that a lot of us have made the last few weeks of our lives trying to figure that out. And I think part of what is the reality is that there is a sense in Silicon Valley generally that in order to make an omelet, you have to break some eggs. But generally speaking, the other thing is that you have to remember the people Elon Musk surrounds himself with, right? There is incredibly extreme politics that exist in Silicon Valley. And most people think that that's liberal. But in fact, there are also some extreme free speech advocates, right? And what I mean by that is not just making sure everyone has a voice, but in fact, despite any results that may come from it, right? Whether it is terrorists who are recruiting people off of Twitter or whatever else, he believes that free speech should be allowed. And that is where these types of policies start running up against, philosophy, right? And we're seeing the result of that.
This isn't hard to fix, though, right? I mean, if you
I don't know about that, man.
All right, well, let's put it this way: the process, I should say, the process of say verification, right? I mean, like, it doesn't seem like it would be that hard to say, okay, we need more revenue, we got to find ways. We're going to keep our verification process the same. We're going to have people checking it, but it's going to cost you $8 a month to have it. Like, that seems like a much more reasonable thing than step right up. Everybody can have a blue check for $8.
Yeah, I mean, look, the reality is that a lot of different companies have attempted to do this idea of verified accounts over the years, right? And oftentimes it was people like Google or even Facebook who say you cannot have an account that isn't your real name, which, a lot of people who live under repressive regimes, activists, you can imagine how that's not helpful for them. But the thing is that it costs a lot of money to verify these identities. And, look, if you're looking at a pure profit and loss type of situation, you're not thinking about what is it that makes this platform trustworthy and what's helped it to become so influential. And instead, you're worried about just bare, dollars and cents. you would think, okay, well, we got to find a way to make money, and having these people actually checking identities is a lot of money. We can't do that. So it's really tough. Like, I think part of the problem is Twitter has never been a good business. Even when it was at its best, it was barely profitable. And Elon Musk, of course, has caused so much confusion. We have so many stories now that have come out of advertisers saying that they are putting a pause on Twitter advertising, even though Elon Musk claims it's activists. Now other advertisers have actually come out and said, no, it's because of you. And so that's the mess, right? So you can't even unwind to the last 3 weeks. Like, we're in it now, right? We're going to see what ends up happening.
That's right. All these woke pharmaceutical companies that are just not wanting to advertise because of, get out of here with that stuff. But
they woke up and they saw that
exactly.
the stock market value had dropped $20 billion because someone impersonated them on Twitter.
So all right. There have been people, and I follow quite a few tech people or people who are in that world who, and maybe it's alarmist, but there are quite a few of them who feel like this site is very close to just being totally unusable or crashing altogether. And he's fired a ton of people who have institutional knowledge of the place. So can it be fixed?
Look, I have seen so many times when you look at an executive doing something and you're like, oh my God, how is this place even open today? And the reality is that there's a lot of flexibility and possibility for people to be able to work under extreme environments, for companies to survive, even stuff that you would never think they could. So I'm not going to say Twitter is, 6 minutes from going under. I think that reality is, and as we've written on CNET, this is an incredibly stressful time, not just for that company, right? I mean, Facebook is under a lot of stress too. They just let go of 11,000 people. It's their largest headcount reduction ever. Amazon just let go of 10,000 people, their largest headcount reduction ever. Like, these layoffs are enormous, but the stress that they are feeling is not stress we are feeling, in part because their influence is different, right? This gets back to what we were talking about. It's not just about Twitter as a company, because that's always been kind of an iffy situation. It's Twitter as an influence platform, and as the place where senators and congresspeople and top sports stars and all sorts of other people are always hanging out and making statements, by the way, right, that then reverberate in the real world. So I don't know whether it's going to be here in a couple of years, right, or whether people will see the influence from it as much, but today and tomorrow and for the foreseeable future, Twitter is still Twitter.
I don't know if it's Elon Musk's ego or his troll impulse that made him go, say he was going to buy Twitter in the first place, and he realized he got stuck and he had to go through with it. And it feels a little bit out of control, because I saw a tweet the other day from him that is still on his timeline, although when you click on it, it says it's been deleted. And it says, rolling out soon, Twitter will enable organizations to identify which other Twitter accounts are actually associated with them. Oh. In other words, the blue check mark. He destroyed the blue check mark, the verified system, and then decided he's going to, fix it. It just seems illogical and unreasonable and not smart in any way.
Yeah, look, I think the reality is, having watched a lot of private companies over the years who are in dire straits, a lot of nutty things happen behind the scenes. And one thing Elon Musk has been really bad at is keeping that private. Even the acquisition process, which started back in April, but feels like it was a whole lifetime ago. When he first said he wanted to buy Twitter, the whole thing became a drama. He started talking about criticizing the company and questioning how many bots were on the platform. And those are normal things to have happen, but they happen behind closed doors. They happen before people put pen to paper. And so part of what's been interesting here is that, a lot of this back and forth and craziness, this happens every day. And I'm sure people listening can say, oh yeah, I feel like I have Elon Musk as a boss type person. But the reality is that those things happen quietly. And this is happening very in the public domain. And that's part of why it's gotten so much attention.
My feeling is he doesn't really want to be doing this, but he got forced into it because he blustered about it months ago and he got in over his head. Is there an off-ramp for him?
I mean, it depends on how much of a, as we like to call it in the finance industry, haircut he's willing to take, right? How much money is he willing to lose as a result of this? I mean, he has $40 billion that is in this, and part of that is with other investors, including, by the way, if you saw P. Diddy, the rapper, got to put in $10 million apparently as part of this.
Oh.
But, I think that if he's willing to lose value, yeah, he can sell it to somebody else in any time. But the problem is that he's going to lose a ton of value. And also, who wants to pick up this mess, right? Like at this point, you're going to have to really work hard to find someone who wants to fix all of this, because not only has it been a problem back, in April before he bought it, but now he's added a bunch of extra problems on top. And that's going to make it a whole universe of trouble if you end up being in charge.
I think it was your colleague Roger Cheng who wrote or had a quote in his piece, right, that he could just put an adult in charge.
which is, by the way, mention of something that Silicon Valley has a history of doing, right? Is that, one of the jokes that they had at Google when they brought on CEO Eric Schmidt, who was, a longtime tech industry executive. He was not known as this kind of forward-thinking person, but, the two founders said, look, we realize we need an adult in charge, even though, we're 20-something years old. We need someone who has experience. Same thing at Facebook. When they hired the COO, who came in after Mark Zuckerberg, they were hiring an adult for the room. And so that is something that is often said. The difference, of course, is that Elon Musk is 51, I think, years old. So it kind of, it strains credulity to think that he could need an adult, but Roger is absolutely right about it.
At least a figurative adult, if not a chronological adult.
Exactly.
Ian, you're the best. Thanks for doing this. I do promise one time we're going to talk video gaming when we get you on, but we appreciate you updating us on this story. We'll look forward to doing this again soon.
Absolutely. Anytime. Have a good day.
Ian Sherr is with CNET, at Ian Sherr on Twitter, SHERR, but I love the handle. Maybe Ian Sherr, maybe not.
I think one of the funny things that's happened in the last couple of days is SpaceX is now going to advertise on Twitter, and one of the best reactions I saw was somebody saying, "Oh, SpaceX is advertising on Twitter." In other news, I have moved money from my savings account to my checking account.
Who is SpaceX advertising to? Are we
Jeff
going to be
Bezos?
riding the space? Thank you.
He's got Blue Origin.
I didn't realize you would have a marketing department there. Like,
Kevin,
what are you advertising?
You can have anything you want if you save. Just
Yeah.
save
I want
money.
a rocket.
If you tried a little harder,
I mean, at
you
this
could
point,
have a rocket.
At this point, I just want the flamethrower. For the
I
loser.
know.
I can probably handle that. I can't handle a rocket.
Goodness gracious.
All right, we're going to change gears. Obviously, things are going to be a little bit more serious here for the next couple segments. Bottom of the hour, Shimon Prokopez is going to join us from CNN. He's been on top of the reporting out of Uvalde ever since that shooting happened, and he has new audio that was played with Anderson Cooper last night. We're going to talk to him after the news at 11:30. Up next, we're going to let you hear a little bit of that audio here on the show.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to The Dave Glover Show and all the news, talk, sports, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
You guys, it's always a good time to throw the Brew Pub pizza, the Lots of Matza pizza into your oven. And of course, now is a great time on all fronts. Not only are you going to enjoy the goodness that comes with the award-winning mozzarella cheese and a half pound of it on every pizza, plus the high-quality ingredients, but once that pie is done, you can leave that oven open a little bit, let the smells come out. I got to tell you, that's one of my favorite parts, because the way my house is, I come upstairs, throw the pizza in the oven. Usually it's the bacon cheeseburger or the Hawaiian, but the last time it was the pepperoni, because I wanted to go old school for a day. But the best part is I come upstairs, I put it in the oven, and then I go back downstairs to the man cave, because that's usually where I'm watching sports on the weekends. And then the smell starts to reach me right before it's done. And you go back up. It's pretty awesome. And as I mentioned, some of my favorites is there. You've got so many options to choose from. I haven't mentioned the 4-meat pizza that's got the sausage, pepperoni, Canadian bacon. I'm going to tell you, the bacon makes it It makes it absolutely the supreme pizza, which is the meat and the veggies. I don't like veggies on my pizza, but if you do, it's all loaded up on the supreme. It's the Brew Pub Lots of Matzo Pizza. They are available in the freezer aisle at your grocery store. Go set yourself up for the weekend. It's great to have them on hand. The Brew Pub, lots of Matzo Pizzas.
Get 4 tickets to the St. Louis Aquarium when you donate your car to Goodwill. It's easy, towing is free, and you'll get a tax receipt too. Dive in and check it out at mersgoodwill.org.
Give hope. Give local. Give Goodwill.
Procrastination. We've all been there. But have you been dragging your feet when it comes to creating your retirement plan? I've heard it all from, I have time before I need to make a decision, or I'll eliminate debt first and then get ready for retirement. I've seen far too many people waste valuable time for their retirement planning, and I don't want you to be one of them. Hi, I'm Ken Heisey with Heisey Advisory Group. I'm on a mission to help people recognize the potential destructive impact procrastination can have on their retirement plan. Don't procrastinate. Call us today at 314-328-4400 to ensure you get on the right path toward your retirement dream. That's 314-328-4400, 314-328-4400.
Heisey Advisory Group provides insurance services. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
The Vietnam War united and divided our nation. A fracture still felt 5 decades later. Vietnam, at War and at Home, a new exhibit at Soldiers Memorial Military Museum, examines how the St. Louis region contributed to the dramatic storylines of this pivotal period of war, protest, tragedy, and change. From photos of the front lines to popular music, to the experiences of those who served and the refugees who fled and settled here, the exhibit illuminates the Vietnam era and offers connections to today.
Tom Ackerman for Building Community with Busey Bank, a podcast series accessible at KMOX.com/community banking. We continue shining a light on great work by nonprofits. Meet Unleashing Potential, known by its initials UP. UP focuses on discovering and unleashing the very best in each child they assist. Busey Bank is proud to partner with Unleashing Potential to help them fulfill their mission. Listen to our November podcast, Building Community with Busey Bank, at KMOX.com/community banking.
Nearly a century of informing, entertaining, and serving St. Louis. KMOX.
All right, coming up on 11:24 on the show, Chris Ranji, Amy Marks, Horace, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Now, after the news at 11:30, Shimon Prokopez from CNN is going to join us. He's the one that's been all over the reporting from Uvalde really ever since the shooting. I mean, he's been covering this nonstop since then, and he has had the access to a lot of the families. He's been talking with and working with those families, and in some cases, getting permission to use audio from them. And that's what's been happening here lately, guys. I mean, he was on with some new audio even yesterday with Anderson Cooper. And when you hear it, and we'll play a little bit of it here as kind of an advance on the conversation we'll have with him after the news. I can't imagine anything more heartbreaking for a parent to hear. I can't believe what I'm hearing. I can't believe what I'm hearing. I do believe what I'm hearing from the kids in the classroom, kids who are in their own way being heroic, who are trying to step up and help. I can't believe what I've heard on some of the cameras, the body cameras that the audio that's been caught from the police officers. And I certainly can't believe what we're hearing from the person that was supposed to be in charge on the scene. I mean, it's mind-boggling.
Well, and it's beyond upsetting. It makes you angry. I cannot believe how the adults and the authorities failed the children, failed the teachers. And I think sometimes you hold out hope that okay, maybe there was a misunderstanding, but it's not. It was abject failure that cost the lives of so many children.
So these clips are, especially this first one we're going to play. I mean, it's hard to listen to because you're hearing a kid making a 911 call, but it's important to understand this because then we're going to play what the police chief Mariano Pargas said after that. But this is Chloe Torres, and again, all of this is with the permission of the families of the parents. None of this is being done in any kind of weird way. This is all with permission of the families that this stuff is out there. This is a child calling 911 during that shooting. This is Chloe Torres.
I'm in classroom number 1020
112. 112. 112, yes, ma'am.
What's your name, ma'am?
Chloe Torres, please hurry. There's a lot of dead bodies.
There's a lot of dead bodies.
It's listening to that one. Oh my gosh.
And then to know they were all notified on the scene, and officers inside the school already in the hallway were told there's a child has just called 911.
Yes, and there are victims. It's not. I mean, I couldn't believe when I read this, the police chief. Again, it's Mariano Pargas who said this. They thought he was just shooting in the air.
No,
and blowing out the lights. Are you kidding me?
Watch this and you listen to the kids calling 911 and their bravery and the maturity with which they handled the situation. You want every single one of those officers fired. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
Everybody should be gone.
Yeah.
Every single one of them should be
It's
gone.
the kind of thing where you might have orders or are still waiting for orders, but you kind of have to defy them and just say, I'm going down there. We have to go down there.
You're the police chief.
And
you
the
don't
guy,
wait.
The guy who was active, Pargas, who was active or in the moment, he didn't think, he says after the fact, that he was in charge in the moment, but he was. Left, went outside, knew all this was going on, and never came back in the building again.
So
it's unbelievable.
We know from the audio, and again, we'll talk to Shimon Prokopez about this. We know from the audio that he talked to the dispatcher who told him, we're getting calls from the children in the room. Okay.
Yes.
This is what Pargas said himself later on about that.
The room was extremely dark, and we didn't know where he was, or the kids were standing, they were by him, or not knowing what was behind the doors. All we knew, we had heard all those shots, but we didn't know whether there were kids in there were kids alive, there were kids, we had no idea.
So we didn't know there were kids in there.
What are
which
you
of course they
talking
were
about?
because they're calling.
Yes.
They're calling 911 from inside the classroom, telling you what room they're in. And the dispatcher's telling you that. How do we get to the point where the story turns into we didn't know?
And you're hearing the gunshots. They're hearing the gunshots and, well, we don't know if anyone's in there. You go to the shooter. It defies reason. And again, my gut reaction, your visceral reaction is every single one of those people should be gone, should be fired.
I can't wait to hear from Shimon, and I need to talk to him about the fact the families aren't getting information except from him.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable.
We'll have Shimon Prokopez from CNN when we come back here on the show.
You know, the Midwest Money slogan, isn't cash in the bank better than scrap in the drawer? This is Johnny Rabbit. Midwest Money, the oldest coin shop in St. Louis. Buying, selling, and trading since 1971. Silver and gold, coins, sterling silver, flags, medals, daggers, and more. Not sure what you have? Bring your collectibles to someone you can trust. Midwest Money at the corner of Hampton and Holly Hills. You'll be happy you did.
KMOX News Time is 11:29. Donate a car, get a tax receipt, and tickets to the St. Louis Aquarium at mersgoodwill.org.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Here's another satisfied customer of 3-Day Kitchen and Bath, Anita Bennett.
When I first heard about 3-Day Kitchen and Bath, I thought, there's no way they could do a good job in 3 days, and they must carry only the plain Jane basics in cabinets, countertops, and flooring. Then they came to our house, and we found out they offered top-quality materials with tons of choices and lots of custom options. They worked with us to design a bathroom that was perfect for our family. They looked at our needs and thought of details I hadn't even considered. The installation was clean, thorough, and professional, and they were done in just 3 days. When we got back from the hotel, I couldn't believe the difference. The bathroom is beautiful.
See us on the web at 3daykitchen.com.
It's about time.
3 days or less.
At 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
At 11:30, it's cloudy and 38 degrees downtown at the Arch. Prices at the wholesale level rose 8% in October from a year ago, the fourth straight decline, and the latest sign that inflation pressures in the U.S. are easing from painfully high levels. The annual figure is down from 8.4% in September. Russian airstrikes targeting energy and other facilities are rocking Ukraine from east to west. The attacks have caused broad power blackouts. A senior official warned that the situation was critical and urged Ukrainians to hang in there as neighborhoods went dark. Webster Grove City Hall is closed today due to a water main break at Elm and Lockwood, and tonight's city council meeting is virtual only. You can also expect lane restrictions in the area. Edgar Road is completely shut down between Hampshire and Canterbury because of another water main break. And we've got a crash on 30 West past Gravois Bluffs. That's on the left shoulder. Another crash on 6440 going east at 364. And emergency vehicles still 70 east at Cary. There's been a vehicle fire there. Rather cloudy, damp, and cold this afternoon with a shower or rain or snow around. Later this afternoon into this evening, temperatures holding in the mid to upper 30s. Overnight, cold, icy spots, low 27. Tomorrow, a couple of afternoon flurries with a high of 34. Right now, it's 38 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends Mark and Neil Gelman from the Gelman team of eXp Realty. Selling your home, every situation is unique. Find the best options that are right for you from the real estate team who offer more options. My friends Mark and Neil Gelman. Check out the only agents that I trust at thegelmanteam.com.
Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Rachel and Dave here for Smart Mouth. Smart Mouth is simply the only mouth rinse you ever need to think about again. Unlike Scope, unlike Listerine, it actually has a chemical reaction that kills bad breath for 12 hours. Use it twice a day and you are covered.
There's so many Smart Mouth products to choose from. They have their dry mouth rinse, their clinical DDS, their original formula, plus whitening toothpaste, and their delicious mints. To learn more, go to smartmouth.com/Glover for a $2.50 off coupon.
The holidays are here, but for some families, they'll spend that time at SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. I'm Carol Daniel. KMOX, along with all of our sister stations at our company, Odyssey STL, are again proud to partner with you and other generous St. Louisans in our community to raise funds for the Tree of Hope campaign for Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. It's so easy to give. Just text the word HOPE to 20357 or KMOX.com/Cardinal Glennon.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. Do you have a home or a business made out of stone or brick? If so, listen up, because Morelli Tuck Pointing is the masonry specialist, serving St. Louis for 31 years. Morelli Tuck Pointing can work on completely solid houses and buildings, spot pointing with color match, brick and stone repair, foundation repair, walkways, porches. This time of year, people notice that their patios are somewhat cattywampus and those bricks need realignment. How about caulking, waterproofing? Morelli is a family-owned and operated business. Longtime employees there feel like family. And of course, everyone at Morelli is very proud to be a recipient of the Better Business Bureau Torch Award, which is only given to local companies with exceptional customer service. Today, you can call to request a free and quick estimate at 314-645-1387. When it comes to bricks and stone, go to the best. Morelli Tuck Pointing at MorelliTuckPointing.com.
Your home of the Cardinals.
Arenado swings and hits it deep to left field. That ball is out of here.
The Billikens.
Jumper. Yes! Billikens win!
The Chiefs.
Touchdown! Kansas City!
We are America's sports voice, KMOX.
That's 11:34 on the show. Chris Ranji, Amy Marskors, Kevin Wheeler with you here on KMOX. Just last segment, we played just a couple of clips of the audio that we heard on CNN last night. That was during a report on Anderson Cooper's show with Shimon Prokopez, and Shimon is kind enough to join us here on the show today. First, welcome to the show, Shimon. Thank you for doing this. And secondly, thank you for the work that you're doing on this. I mean, the audio is stunning. This story continues to confuse, but we appreciate the work you're putting into this.
I really appreciate that. You know, it's really a team effort from all of us here at CNN, and certainly the dedication that our management and entire team has shown this story, I think is paying off. You know, it's one of the most difficult things I've ever done, certainly from many standpoints, emotional, mental, and, you know, dealing with a lot of these families is very difficult. Getting this information is very difficult, but it certainly, you know, we find it to be very important work because, as you said, there's so much we still don't know, and yet we're still learning and we're still trying to find out.
Yeah, it's something that's difficult to comprehend, the profound failure on the part of law enforcement in this situation. And as we've learned from your reporting, we're learning that higher ups, like the police chief, they knew there were children alive inside the building. They knew they needed rescue from the shooter. They knew that they were in rooms full of victims, on the phone with 911 dispatchers, and yet they didn't act.
Right. And what we're learning and seeing is kind of like everyone was sort of trying to pass the buck here, kind of like they knew there was this urgent situation, but no one really understood what to do. And sort of they were just passing it around. And you went from the school police being in charge to the Uvalde local police being in charge to the Texas DPS being in charge to now, we're seeing evidence of Border Patrol and their SWAT team, the BORTAC unit, kind of coming in and taking control. And so you have all these different agencies that are sort of trying to dictate what to do. In some cases are not doing anything. And it's all wrong. It goes all against the training that law enforcement has been given, certainly since Columbine, and the protocol since Columbine. But for some reason, this group of individuals, law enforcement officials, can't get it right. For 77 minutes, they can't figure out what to do. And all during this time, they know there are kids inside that classroom. There is a teacher who is calling her husband, who is a school police officer, saying, I'm inside here, I'm dying. And yet they all stand around. And then when they learn directly that Uvalde police officer, who's a lieutenant and is the commander on duty and is in charge of the Uvalde Police Department in that moment, when he learns directly that there are kids inside that classroom, still there's no urgency.
Maybe there is no why, other than, I don't know if it's incompetence, if it's cowardice, whatever it is. Have you been able to identify what the problem is?
So based on everything we're seeing, I just think some of it is confusion. Some of it is certainly incompetence, training, lack of training, lack of being aware of exactly what they should be doing in that situation, in that moment. But the more we learn, we've seen all the video by now. Our team has seen every piece of video that exists on this story, from the body cam to the hallway video, to the outside video from some of the surveillance cameras on the outside. It just seems everyone is confused about what to do. And that information is not passed along to the people that need to know. And there is no one taking control of the situation. Not one officer, not one commander. And by then, certainly within 30 minutes, there are some dozens and hundreds of officers on scene, some of them high-ranking officials, Texas Rangers, other DPS officials who can't seem to get it together and figure out what to do. I mean, just think about it. There are nearly 400 officers that are at this school at some point, and still not one can figure out what to do. I mean, that's an incredible number of people. It's a small army, and yet they can't figure out what to do. And it's frustrating because you watch this video and we've heard audio and other information that we now have, and the excuses they make and kind of all of this different information that they claim they had at the time. And they all say, well, we didn't know, but we knew this and we knew this and we knew he was barricaded and we knew he was in this classroom, but we just didn't know that there were kids inside. Well, I think yesterday that, us obtaining this audio changes all of that.
For sure.
And where did the information go?
Well, certainly from what we're understanding from your reporting, Shimon, is it's not going directly to the families. Seems like you guys are finding out more on your own and then communicating with the families as opposed to the police or any authorities letting them know what's going on.
Yeah, and that's really sad. It's been one of the most difficult things to do in this story is having to call the families, having to tell them this information. And they take the information, they have a few questions, but they're just so quiet. They're appreciative, certainly, but we do these Zoom calls with them. And it's two different sets of groups. Some of them are families of survivors, and some of the kids who died. And I think, yes, I do think they're very appreciative, but they're frustrated. You know, one of the parents said to me, well, how much more is there? How much more do we not know? And when will we finally know everything? I don't know. You know, of course, they want to know everything we have, and we're just not at a point or in a place where we can report or certainly let folks know everything we have, because we're still trying to work through some of the reporting. But they're frustrated, of course, as you can imagine. It's just sad. It's sad how they've been treated. It's sad that government officials, law enforcement officials have not simply just sat them down and given them more information.
And so, I mean, that's what my question is. Are I'm imagining these families are trying to get information from authorities and are getting pushback or stonewalled or whatever. Is that how it's going?
Yeah, because the district attorney for the county there in Uvalde has basically told law enforcement officials at the DPS, the Department of Public Safety, which has been really the leading agency on this. They're state troopers, you know, those kind of guys, that they can't talk about this case, that they can't release anything publicly, not even to the families. She's told the local police not to do anything. And so they claim their hands are tied. And the relationship, from what I gather from the families with the district attorney, is not great either. They don't trust her. They feel that she's withholding information. She's giving them mixed signals about where the investigation is going. And quite simply, they just don't trust her. And one of the things they say to me all the time is kind of her attitude. You know, they don't feel that she's sympathetic to them and sympathetic to what they're going through and the issues that they're having. And that, for me, is very striking, because as a district attorney, your job is to deal with the victims of families. It's like the number one thing you do. Yes, justice and prosecutions, but victims' families are the most important part of any case in any investigation. And they just keep telling me how they feel disrespected by her. And it's very hard for them to have any sort of open dialogue and communication with her.
I can't wrap my brain around that, how the authorities, the leaders, again, have failed the students that lost their lives. They failed the families, especially when you hear the call of young Chloe Torres, who was on the phone with the 911 dispatcher. I cannot picture a starker contrast between bravery and composure that this young girl showed and the cowardice and incompetence of the authorities around them, who failed them in every single way and then continue to persist in failing those students and their families. It is something that my brain cannot comprehend.
It's very difficult. We had to listen to that call so many times. And the full call is just horrific, horrible, and something that no one should ever have to listen to. We had to play that for the family members. And it was the first time they had heard it. The authorities had never played it for them. And Chloe's mom, we played it for her, and all you could hear on the other side of the phone was just her sobbing. And the father too, Ruben. But Ruben's a former military, he's a vet, young guy. He's only in his 30s, but he's seen some hard combat. He was so proud of her, as was her mother, of just her composure and what she did in those moments. It was incredible. But the importance, and I think this is what's lost on the authorities here, that call, the mother told me, Chloe's mom told me, helped her, because she's able to answer certain questions that her kid has, but also some of the things her kid has been going through and bringing up in the moments that were going on in that classroom. They've not been able to figure certain things out, but the call helped them. They're like, okay, now we have some answers. And that's what I think the authorities here are missing. You know, do your investigation. Do what you have to do, but you have to keep the families informed on what you're doing. It's a sense of, it's a way to help them. And that is what's going on here. And that's the thing that I think the disrespect. I've always said this about this story. It's just how these families have been disrespected by the authorities from really the beginning.
I know that when we get to hear or see any of the audio or video, it's edited. I mean, the gunshots are taken out, and rightfully so. I don't think anybody really wants to hear that. Is that stuff, though, the families are able to watch or see unedited if they want to, and have they?
No, they haven't. I don't know. Obviously that would not be a decision that I could make because I'd have to, right? So like look, we are in a very different position than we have ever been, right? I've never been in this position where I had to go to families in this way because authorities haven't done what they should be doing. And so that, I don't know, and no family member has asked to see the video. Some of the video, quite honestly, they will never want to see, right? It's horrific, okay? And it is something that no one should ever see. But it's been important for us to see because it helps gives us a lot of context of what's been going on and what went on in those moments. But I don't know what we would do in that situation. If a family member said they wanted to come and see, it's certainly, I would have to take it up, right, to chain and see. But look, I think this whole story, the most important thing to do also to be transparent with the families and letting them know everything we're doing, but also the viewers, so they get a better understanding of what we're dealing with and what we have and what we're trying to do. And also to be fair to all sides, as much as possible. It's very hard to watch this and to see this such failure and be fair. But it's still important as much as possible to do, to be journalists, we have to be fair in the end. But it's very hard because it's hard to watch these videos. Every time we sit and watch these videos, we learn something new. And you sit there and you just say to yourself, well, how is it that this happened? No matter how many times we sit and watch these videos, it's still so hard to believe. You sit there and you watch it and you're like, well, why? Go now. It's really such a different story than any of us have ever covered, in the way we've had to handle certain things and the way we go about it. But it is one of the most important stories, certainly, that I've ever been part of.
Shimon, we appreciate your work on this. Obviously, keep the pressure up. I know it's a difficult job and you're in a weird position, but keep up the good work, and we'll look forward to following your reporting on this moving forward. But thanks for what you've done so far. We all appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having us.
You've got it. That's Shimon Prokupecz from CNN. He's their senior crime and justice correspondent, has been covering the shooting at Uvalde. And the audio that we played in the last segment is from this segment that he did with Anderson Cooper yesterday. But as he pointed out, he has seen all of these videos. He has heard the full-length audio we're playing, and they're only playing on the air short clips because they are taking out gunshots. They are taking out things that would be way more disturbing than any of us want to hear. And he's hearing it because he's the one that's covering the story. And this, by the way, is the importance of having really strong, legitimate professional reporters doing this kind of job. When authorities are not answering questions, when they're not providing information, when it's clear they didn't do their job, the only people that can hold them accountable are people like Shimon Prokupecz, and we really appreciate his work on that.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So what do you provide? Cookie cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Get ready for a one-of-a-kind audio-visual experience. Timeless and everlasting. KMOX welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra, the Ghosts of Christmas Eve, the best of TSO and more, live in concert, 3 p.m. Saturday, December 10th at Enterprise Center. Don't miss this holiday tradition. $1 of each ticket sold to the 3 p.m. show will go to SSM Health Cardinal Glennon. Get full ticket and show details on the events page at KMOX.com.
Bring your family to the 4th annual Moolah Festival of Trees to experience a winter wonderland with over 40 exquisitely decorated Christmas trees with amazing gift packages November 19th through 26th at the Moolah Shrine. Purchase raffle tickets for just $1 for a chance to take home one or more of these creative and beautifully designed trees, including the gifts, which include toys, tools, sports items, kayaks, barbecue pits, gift cards, and even a complete HVAC system for your home. Tree values range from $500 to over $12,000. The Festival of Trees is an exciting Christmas event for all ages. You can take a souvenir photo with Santa Claus to capture a memory of the spirit of Christmas. And be sure to visit Santa's Cafe for some refreshing treats. Adult admission is $2. Kids 12 and under are free at the Moolah Shrine Center at 12545 Fifi Road. Details at moolah.org.
Hotel St. Louis is looking forward to sharing Thanksgiving at your home or ours. Bring your party to Union 30 or take Union 30 home. Either way, Hotel St. Louis does the hard part. Traditional turkey or ham with all the trimmings, sides, and desserts to choose from. Relax and enjoy the feast with your guests in your home or at the magnificent Union 30 in the historic St. Louis Hotel. To order or make reservations, call Union 30 this week at 314-241-4300. That's 314-241-4300.
If you own a house in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is, without any inspections or the need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Home St. Louis at 314-328-8000 or at chrisbuysHomestlouis.com and get your cash offer without any obligations, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant houses, inherited houses, fixer-uppers, beautiful houses, even the tenant won't pay the rent apartment. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis. That's Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis, and check out the best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move, according to your schedule and your terms. Go to chrisbuyshomesinstlouis.com. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis or call 314-328-8000. That's 314-328-8000. Call Chris and get the offer you've been waiting for. Chris Buys Homes in St. That's Chris Buys Homes in St. or call 314-328-8000.
Furnish hope right here in St. Louis. Donate your unneeded furniture and household goods to Home Sweet Home. Visit www.homesweethomestl.org to learn more.
Hey guys, Glover here, and I see clearly thanks to Doctors Birdie and Malhotra, and you can too. Go to youridoc.com today or call 314-966-5000.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than four? 314-441-4444. They're back.
Three best friends. Yeah, the three amigos. Yeah.
Kevin, Chris, and Amy. The show.
All right, don't have much time left in this hour, but just finishing up and following up on the conversation with Shimon Prokupecz from CNN. I mean, look, he's not a victim in this, right? It wasn't his kid or his wife that was shot in those classrooms, but listening to his description of those conversations with families and to the video that they've had to watch because they said they've watched every second of video from the body cams to the hallway cameras, and they've heard all of the audio, even the stuff that they wouldn't put out. That's such important work That's why I mentioned at the end of last segment, man, we can't disregard people like him that are doing important work.
I was going to ask him, and he kind of touched on this when he was answering Ranji's question, that CNN, he as a reporter, CNN itself has not been in this situation before where they're trying to provide information to the victims' families, that they're talking to the families in the way that they're talking to them and being that liaison. And how do you balance your job as being a reporter with your existence and in your humanity? And the amount of profound grief is inconceivable for so many of us. And I've had nothing that even, touches this as far as the amount of despair, of loss and grief. But I've had difficult conversations with people who have lost family members when I'm talking about, writing a book or a story. And it's that responsibility of wanting to honor the story, but being respectful to the families and understanding their grief, that is so difficult. And so when people say, that they don't like the fake media, I just feel like, shut up. Shut up.
Those
right
families
now, CNN is fighting for these victims' families when the authorities have failed them and law enforcement is lying to them, and so are the politicians. And it is this reporter who is standing in the gap.
Well said. Obviously, we'll continue to follow that story as we go along. We got the recap of the top stories of the day next on the show.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with Truehold. Truehold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And Truehold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since Truehold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit Truehold.com and discover how much Truehold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's Truehold.com.
Do you have a plumber you can call on at any time of the day or night when you're having an emergency with your plumbing system, whether it's residential or commercial? Beast Plumbing is who you should have in your contacts. I'll give you that information in just a moment. This is Bo Matthews to let you know about the November deal that's going on at Beast Plumbing. If you have a need for a garbage disposal, they have $25 off the Badger 333 or $50 off the Evo Pro 1100 XL. That's the one I would go with personally. But this is the opportunity you don't want to pass up. Matter of fact, for the holidays, Beast Plumbing is putting out a double deal. The garbage disposal deal, plus they have $75 off all water heaters. So when you have a need for either one of those things or beyond when it comes to plumbing, maybe you've got a commode you got to get fixed before the family comes over for the holidays, make sure you call Beast Plumbing. Here's their number. It's 314-500-LEAK. That's 314-500-LEAK. Online, it's BEISplumbing.com. Tell them Bo sent you to Beast Plumbing.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The voice of the Billikens, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is Debbie Monterey with a real estate update and some insight from my friend and trusted realtor, Gloria Liu, with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria told me that sitting on the sidelines may not be the best strategy moving forward in this continually shifting market. Homes aren't selling as quickly, and in most cases, price reductions are becoming pretty common. Gloria also said that earlier this year, with low inventory, sellers didn't need a strategy to sell homes because homes were listed and sold immediately. Now more than ever, it's crucial to have a proven strategy to get your home sold, and that's why I strongly suggest you call local real estate expert Gloria Liu before you list your home to get the absolute most money. Gloria is so confident that she will sell your home, she'll guarantee in writing upfront to sell it at your agreed-to price and time frame, or she'll buy your home herself. Learn more by calling Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or online at GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news, KMOX.
At 12 noon, it's cloudy and 38 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour, Russian strikes have hit residential buildings in the heart of Ukraine's capital.
Video published by a Ukraine presidential aide showed a 5-story, apparently residential building on fire in Kyiv. The city mayor says 3 others were struck too, and that air defense units shot down missiles. The strikes followed air raid sirens in the capital and break what has been a period of comparative calm since previous waves of drone and missile attacks several weeks ago. The strikes also follow what have been days of euphoria in Ukraine, sparked by the retaking of Kherson. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
The city of Shrewsbury moves closer to passing a new law to discourage stealing stuff from parked cars.
This is Kevin Killeen in Shrewsbury, where many a car sits parked in front of a home or in a driveway, lined up like plum pickings for criminals who might prowl around at night pulling on door handles to find a car that's open and then rifle through it for valuables. This new law, which could pass next Tuesday in the Shrewsbury Board of Aldermen, would make that a crime punishable by up to $1,000 or 3 months in jail. And it would also make it against the law to even get into somebody's car without their permission.
Winter weather response update.
Things went very well.
That's MoDOT's Bob Becker, who said they had crews in at 7 last night in anticipation of the snow. Brine was put down on the bridges yesterday.
We were pretty fortunate. Temperatures stayed in the low 30s. I don't think we got below 30 degrees anywhere, so that really helps. The chemicals work really well at those temperatures.
Becker also says the pace of the snow really just made the roads wet. CBS News correspondent Jim Krasula reports on the latest highway safety innovation.
Automatic emergency braking can cut the number of rear-end automobile crashes in half and reduce pickup truck crashes by more than 40%. That's according to 2 new studies, including one by the insurance industry. Pickups are less likely to have automatic braking than cars or SUVs, despite posing more of a danger.
20 companies have committed to having the braking technology standard equipment on 95% of their vehicles during the current model year that ends next August. NASA is hoping the third time is a charm for the delayed launch of its much-anticipated Artemis moon program. CBS News correspondent Allison Keyes.
2 previous launch attempts in August and September were aborted over fuel line leaks and other technical issues, not to mention 2 hurricanes. Once again, tourists have descended on Cape Canaveral, and those like this man are not troubled by the delays.
They can't afford to fail, so let them get it right. That's fine.
The launch is set for 1:04 a.m. Eastern on Wednesday. The 32-story tall rocket will hopefully blast off and send its Orion capsule on an unpiloted 25-day mission around the moon and back. Allison Keyes, CBS News.
The First Mid Bank and Trust Business Desk, more car than you can afford.
Americans are taking on a lot more debt. U.S. household debt jumped at the fastest pace since the housing collapse in 2008 during the summer's third quarter. Credit card balances surging, even though interest rates on those cards hit a multi-decade high. And auto loans have now passed $1.5 trillion, approaching the student loan debt crisis. Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
The Dow from Stifel's up 144 points to 33,681. And there's a crash on 30 West past Gravois Bluffs, left shoulder, stall 70 east before I-170. That's got the right lane closed.
Cloudy, damp, cold this afternoon. Some showers and rain or snow pop through later this afternoon. This evening will hold the mid-upper 30s and they'll drop in the upper 20s. Icy spots tonight. Temperatures are really going to be just much colder than they should be for this time of year. We'll stay in the low to mid 30s tomorrow, get to near 40 on Thursday, back in the low to mid 30s Friday, low 40s on Saturday, and then upper 30s to near 40 on Sunday. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Justine DeVore and the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Cloudy sky, 37 in Florissant, 37 in St. Peters, and 38 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
12:05 on the show. Time for the recap of the top stories of the day. Obviously, we've had a busy day, kind of a diverse day, too. We just talked to Shimon Prokopez from CNN. The reporting out of Uvalde, which was stunning and horrible. Great reporting, but just story itself, stunning and horrible. We talked earlier to Ian Scher from CNET about all of the Twitter nonsense. I love that, when we reached out to him last week, the piece that he had written was I can't remove my blue check mark. He was trying to remove it and it wouldn't allow, and he still hasn't been able to remove it. So Twitter's not allowing anybody to remove that or change their name, which is why it's funny. His name on there, his handle is his name. It's Ian Scher. But his actual name is maybe Ian Scher, maybe not.
So
everybody's impersonating everybody now.
What Twitter had done because of the impersonations is they froze that that handle, so you couldn't change it. Whatever it was at the moment, it was locked in.
Yeah.
And somebody had tweeted, because they're I don't remember what it was, but it was just a ridiculous handle. And they tweeted at Elon the other day and said, "Hey, Elon, I don't want this to be my handle forever. Can I change it?" And Elon responded and said, "Yeah, go ahead. It's fixed." And then the guy responds and says, "Thank you." And he had changed his handle to Elon Musk. So people are trolling the guy. I really wish I knew what his end game was, because I cannot believe he'd be this incompetent with it. And I truly think it's I think he is a libertarian now, or maybe he always has been, and he feels like Twitter is not the free-for-all that it should be. And this was months ago, so he said, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy it and make it whatever I want because I have a lot of money and I can do this. Then he got in over his head. And then he realizes, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm backing out. But then they said, nope, you can't back out because you committed, and now he's stuck with it. That's what I think has happened here.
You know how you said, I wish I knew what his end game was? I bet he wishes he knew what his end game was.
Yeah, I don't think he does.
I think you got in over
He
his
is the
head.
dog chasing the car, chasing the ambulance, that when he catches up to it, he doesn't know what to do with it.
Because he, again, just being a troll and his troll impulse, he said he was going to buy Twitter. I think he really wanted out of that.
Yeah.
It was too late. And so now he's had to deal with the mess. And I do think it's been chaotic and he's just acting on impulse because there's no genius behind anything that he's doing right now.
Well, look, everybody has their area of expertise, right? He's had great success when it comes to engineering and technology. And, obviously the Tesla company has its flaws. I mean, let's not, pretend that it's perfect, but he took something and made it out of nothing and it became a factor. It became a force. He's behind SpaceX. Like, he's got expertise, but we're not all expert in everything. And what he's in an area now that he clearly doesn't understand. He doesn't understand that people don't want Twitter to just be a hellscape where you can say anything all the time or be anyone for $8. Like, if you don't understand what you're dealing with, no matter how smart you are, you're going to ruin it. Right? You would never hire, like, for example, we were talking earlier about what was the character that you brought up, Amy, during trending, the DC comic book character.
Mr. Terrific.
But you're not Mr. Terrific. You're not going to hire a guy like James Gunn, for example, to produce a documentary about a presidential election.
Well, he could. He
might be great at it. But we know what he knows. He's really good at making action movies. He's really good at making big blockbuster movies. You're taking a risk if you're going some other direction, right? I mean, you wouldn't hire a football coach to manage your baseball team. You wouldn't do those things, even if they're successful, because there are areas where we have expertise and we don't. And he is out of his element.
Well, the problem is because he's had success or he's made money with those other companies, his assumption, and he knows millions of people think he's a god. So his assumption is, I can do anything.
Yeah.
I can fix anything. And there is nothing worse or more dangerous than a person with a lot of money who believes they are the only person that can fix things. And nobody else can fix them. I can fix them. Yes, we have.
Meanwhile, gentlemen, over in Arizona, the Democratic Secretary of State Katie Hobbs has defeated Republican Carrie Lake in Arizona's race for governor.
And Carrie Lake conceded gracefully.
Well, no, not exactly. About 90 minutes after NBC News called the race for Hobbs, Lake tweeted, quote, "Arizonans know BS when they see it."
Apparently.
The replies to that tweet are pretty brilliant.
I would imagine.
That seems to be the situation, Carrie.
Does that mean now we don't have to see the filter anymore when she's doing interviews?
Oh, my God. That blurry filter is...
What the heck?
Yeah.
Woof.
You know what? Nobody notices, though. It's totally unnoticeable.
Carrie
the
Lake
TV
was
filter.
You're really getting away with that one, Gary.
Carrie Lake was one of the most obviously high-profile election deniers, MAGA Republicans running for office in this midterms. And the thing is, I really thought she had a great chance of winning because she is so polished. She has that background as a news anchor. And by the way, not a Republican, not a conservative. Historically, she found a group of people that liked her presence, and she played into that. She leaned into that hard, and she was very polished. And she knew that the quote owning the libs mentality could be very popular. Unfortunately, when you're focused on negative partisanship, that can only drive you so far.
Yeah.
And she didn't really, all I know she stood for a lot of election denial.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I've been told this from a couple of people I know that live in Arizona, that she told basically we don't want any McCain Republicans.
Mhm.
Well, you probably needed them, because that was a state where John McCain was very well loved. And
Did she not
elected
tell
many
them
times.
to go to hell? Like,
I don't
quote,
remember
wasn't
exactly. Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but the way it was put to me was, they basically that she told McCain Republicans, we don't want you, we don't need. Maybe it was we don't need you, but obviously you did, because of the way this went. Now, speaking of like older school Republicans, let me flash you back to October 28th, 2022. This is a letter from Carrie Lake, who signed the letter, by the way. Not only Republican nominee for governor of Arizona, but also campaign manager. I guess she's her own campaign manager. But she wrote a letter to Liz Cheney, because Liz Cheney had been critical of her. And
that's right.
This is what Carrie Lake wrote to Liz Cheney on October 28th. I won't read the whole thing, but it says, "Thank you for your generous in-kind contribution to my campaign. Your recent television ad urging Arizonans not to vote for me is doing just the opposite. Our campaign donations are skyrocketing, and our website nearly crashed from traffic as people rush to learn more about my plan to put Arizona first and to join our historic political movement." Went on, kind of doing this smart-assy thing. In fact, my team tells me your commercial should add another 10 points to our lead. Fast forward to yesterday, after the announcement came that Carrie Lake was defeated, Liz Cheney tweeted, "You're welcome at Carrie Lake."
Yes. But I mean, what else are you supposed to do? But I love that. My campaign team has told me this. Yeah, my mom told me I'm the best person in the world. So
you're a very special
I mean,
boy.
like, you're sure your team is telling you how great you are. Of course they are. And this is what I was talking about. Kyung La, who is she is a reporter for CNN, and she has been in Maricopa County during the counting. She says she was texted by an Arizona Republican strategist. Quote, "Carrie Lake told a legion of John McCain supporters across Arizona that they could go to hell. Tonight, they returned the favor."
Yeah.
All it would have taken would be a really small percentage of those people to change that.
That's right.
Right?
I mean, it's such a tight vote.
But again, the fact that Carrie Lake did not win the gubernatorial race for Arizona is not only a good thing for the United States, but it's a good thing for the Republican Party. It is not tenable to have a party whose primary platform is denying election results whenever you lose. It's not tenable. It is fundamentally incompatible with democracy, with our democratic framework. So think of it this way again. Yes, Joe Biden has abysmal approval ratings, and yet this was the best midterms for incumbents in a couple of decades. Why? Because as bad as inflation is, and as unhappy as people are with Joe Biden, the GOP nominees were that much worse. They were so entrenched in grievance politics and malice politics and saying, hey, if we lose, it's only because the election was stolen from us. And there is the exhausted majority of American voters who may still be conservative and may still be Republican, but they are tired of the Trump narrative.
And they either do not necessarily blame the current administration for all the inflation because it is a worldwide problem, or they do, but they still don't think it's as bad as what the GOP could have done and these deniers could have done if they took office.
Yeah.
So
And
it's one
again,
of those two things, or both.
And it's important to have a healthy Republican Party. And that's why, and I was very critical of the Democratic Party for dumping so much money into the extreme far right Republican candidates during the primaries, thinking that those MAGA Republicans
I thought it was dangerous too.
more beatable. And
Well,
they-
it was.
yeah,
It was.
and I mean, and they did win, beating some of these MAGA Republicans. But I would say to the Democrats, don't play
do it
with
again.
fire. If
Yeah.
democracy truly is at stake, you can't play Russian roulette with that. You can't do it. And so hopefully this is some type of watershed in our current political environment that we can move back to. My goodness, when was the last time we saw a Reagan Republican out there?
Let's just go team normal for a while.
Yeah.
Team normal
Team
on
boring.
the right, team normal on the left. I'm good for team boring. Team boring
I like
would be
team
really
boring.
nice now for about another couple of election cycles. All right, coming up next, you may have noticed some billboards making a bit of a show of things with soccer kicking off here in St. Louis in the not too distant future, the World Cup kicking off as well. A very famous person connected to soccer in the television world has messages. We'll talk about those messages next up on the show.
Well, we had snow this morning. I know in Illinois they had it a couple of days ago, but it was the first time I saw it around my house. And you've heard me talk about STL Fence Works. Well, not only are they the #1 fence and deck contractor in the state of Missouri, but they also have fully insured commercial snow and ice removal on demand. So you might want to bookmark that, stlfenceworks.com. Fully insured commercial snow and ice removal on demand. That can be a huge help for you. I know a lot of times with snow and ice, it's something we don't think about as much in St. Louis. You don't need it till you need it, but when you do, you really do. They can help you out. And in the meantime, because they're the #1 fence and deck contractor in the state of Missouri, they've been able to keep their prices low and keep materials and supplies on hand. In fact, right now they have more deck materials and fence materials in stock than they've had at any other time in their 50-year history. I don't know any other company that can say that. So when you do order a project, you work with STL Fence Works, you know that your project will be completed by an experienced craftsman in a timely manner. And of course, they have that lifetime warranty that reinforces that commitment. It surpasses anything else offered in the industry. Visit them today at stlfenceworks.com.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to KMOX for all the news, sports, talk, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
The holidays are upon us. Call Zero Res now before the rush. Get 3 rooms Zero Res clean starting at just $129 and get a free room of fiber protectant for an $80 savings plus $50 off your air ducts. Call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Recent impacts with inflation, ongoing COVID concerns, and geopolitical conflict have us all and the markets on edge. Heisey Advisory Group understands the importance of having a customized strategy for retirement, especially during uncertain times, to help ensure these concerns don't have an impact on your retirement. Heisey Advisory Group is a St. Louis-based, family-owned and operated holistic retirement planning firm. Our team has defined a process that puts together all the pieces of the financial puzzle, working with all of your service providers to help develop an individualized plan that grows with you as your life changes and your needs evolve. If you're not confident that your retirement plan is on track to deliver the lifestyle you want amid historic levels of uncertainty, call us today at 314-328-4400. That's 314-328-4400.
Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Firm provides insurance services. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through A Wealth Management, LLC.
The federal government is hiring 87,000 new IRS enforcement agents. Make no mistake, with spending out of control, they're looking to collect revenue. The first target will be you. If you have not paid your taxes or filed them in years, let me help you get that target off your back. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. So if you have unfiled returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Tom Ackerman for Building Community with Busey Bank, a podcast series accessible at KMOX.com/community banking. We continue shining a light on great work by nonprofits. Meet Unleashing Potential, known by its initials UP. UP focuses on discovering and unleashing the very best in each child they assist. Busey Bank is proud to partner with Unleashing Potential to help them fulfill their mission. Listen to our November podcast, Building Community with Busey Bank, at KMOX.com/community banking.
Spark Co-working St. Louis is a new collaborative workspace located within the PwC Pennant Building in Ballpark Village. The Spark Co-working community supports the thriving St. Louis entrepreneurial ecosystem, where you can live, work, and watch the Cardinals play all within one district. The all-inclusive workspace includes furnished month-to-month offices and suites with stadium, city, and arch views, concierge mail service, nitro cold brew coffee on tap, and so much more. Call 314-278-5297 or visit spark-stl.com.
All the news and all that matters to you. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
All right, 12:21 on the show. Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Coming up after the news, we got the guy that, let's just say mixed some things up down in Georgia. Chase Oliver was the Libertarian candidate for senator in Georgia, and because of the 2% of the vote that he took, there's a runoff. They didn't have anybody that got over the 50% threshold, which is the law in Georgia. If you don't get to 50%, you can't win it. So now we have a runoff. We're going to talk to Chase Oliver about his role in all of this and what he would like to see come out of it. That'll be coming up after the news at 12:30.
And it may or may not have affected the election. You don't know where the 2% would have gone, but it will be interesting to see what he thinks about it.
And not just the Georgia runoff, but, something that could affect the, potentially could have affected the Senate before more results came out.
Well, it could affect the Senate 2 years from now because the map doesn't look very good for Democrats.
Right.
Speaking of Georgia, and speaking of races and denialism and all that stuff, Stacey Abrams lost her race as she was running for governor. We got a text message during our last segment when we were talking about Carrie Lake. And the text is from a 636, and you're welcome to text the show whenever, 314-436-7900. The text reads, do you ever talk about the denier Stacey Abrams, like using multiple segments to discuss her? Number one, yeah, we have. We have talked about her
multiple times.
And two, she has conceded this race multiple times clearly, and has even congratulated Brian Kemp on his win. So there's nothing to talk about.
And when I have brought it up, definitely with the caveat that Stacey Abrams was not president of the United States and didn't incite a riot that threatened the lives of members of Congress. And when you look at Stacey Abrams and her election, fraud claims, she is rather isolated in the Democratic Party. Ranji, you've said you hate the election deniers, hate when people say that, oh, I lost, therefore it's fraudulent. And you have called out those on the right and you've called out those on the left. The thing is, primarily on the left, it is Stacey Abrams. It's much more isolated. There is not a huge wave of election deniers in the Democratic Party like there is on the right. One of them was the president of the United States. The other was a failed candidate for governor of Georgia. It's incommensurable when you're looking at scale and magnitude.
Let's be realistic. On one side, there's like 200. On the other, there's like 2. It's just not equal. Yeah. It's not the same.
And it's awful. For both sides are both people who are denying the election are wrong. But the magnitude, the influence, and the subsequent consequences of that denial are not even comparable in scope. Not even close.
You mean like 200 and 2 aren't equal?
Well, I don't know, man. You ever seen the movie 300? They did a lot of work against that huge Persian army.
Yeah, but
man,
in the end,
oh yeah, they all died. They all died with the arrows in the sky.
Movie though.
Oh man, that was a fun movie.
We'll fight in the shade.
Amy has no idea. This
know
is
the
Sparta.
song.
You
know the story of the 300 Spartans.
I do, but I didn't see the movie. But I think I have some of the soundtrack, oddly enough. on my
Alrighty
on a
then.
playlist from back in the day.
Why would you have the musical score
know.
for all?
I don't
Oh
know.
my God, you're
Anyway.
so weird. Hey, did you guys see the Ted Lasso billboards?
Oh yeah.
So there's a billboard, 2 of them. Ted Lasso is the great show on Apple TV Plus. It's a great show. I love it.
Okay, don't editorialize.
Wait, no, he's allowed to. He's not.
No, that's not
Yeah,
not
this-
editorializing. That's just fact.
I mean,
it's a great show.
Based on people's reviews, it's very well received.
It's very well received. Hey,
95%
but let me
fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
before you complain about Ted Lasso, the fantastic show on Apple TV Plus, there are 2 billboards because there are a pair of St. Louis area guys who are going to be part of that World Cup team. Tim Ream and Josh Sargent, one from St. Louis, one from O'Fallon. And there are 2 really, by the way, billboards that are long with a lot of words, kind of hard to read if you're driving.
Yeah, not a great idea.
Now they're really funny though.
Going 70, I can't read all those.
So we noticed these billboards. We were told about them. St. Louis Magazine did a write-up on them. And you 2, Kevin and Amy, you curmudgeons, they were like, is this funny? Are these billboards funny? And I'm like, yeah, if you watch Ted Lasso, the show, and you know the character, they are amusing.
I think it would have been a little bit cleverer if this had happened last year. I understand the World Cup wasn't taking place then, but I just feel like Ted Lasso is a little overplayed. About 73 to 87% of anyone who celebrated Halloween last year went as a character from Ted Lasso.
Okay, so that's not the show's
It's
fault that people like it.
overplayed.
You're right.
It's overplayed.
That's
We
okay.
get it.
Isn't? No, it isn't.
The billboards.
You know what, Amy?
To me, the billboards are a separate issue. The billboards are cool because they're recognizing people that have made
Oh my gosh.
a really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, to make a World Cup roster,
right,
is an amazing
Are
thing.
you running for office?
No.
Why
Listen.
are you being so?
I just want to say though that the show itself, if your lead is a heartwarming tale of a fish out of water who goes overseas and learns from all of his, I'm out. Even if other people love it, I'm out.
That's what a stupid take.
I know.
I mean, I could really distill Star Wars down to a guy with daddy issues rebels.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Okay, so that sounds stupid
But
too.
there's action and stuff.
But it's not heartwarming.
Yeah, but this show is funny.
They
The
have
show is funny, and there
lasers.
are I don't really like
heartwarming.
I don't like heartwarming stuff typically. But this show, and then that's why I thought I was going to hate this
It's hard
show.
to warm a cold, dead heart.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I started watching it, and I tell you, when I watch this show,
Yeah.
I feel a little bit of heat coming from my chest. And it's the only thing that makes me feel that way.
The Tin Man over here gets a heart with
right,
Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso is the only thing that makes me feel human. What? It's not. Come on. It does.
so really well done.
I watch Ted Lasso and I go, I want to be in
See,
that world with these
I think
people.
that's why everyone told me, Amy, you're a little Miss Hallmark, you're whatever, you're Pollyanna. You would love Ted Lasso. It reminds me of you. I did not like it for whatever reason. It just didn't do it for
It's
me.
because there's something wrong with you and you watch bad TV or no TV and you watch bad movies or no movies. You haven't seen anything good.
I've seen Ted Lasso.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I watched the whole first season and then part of the second season, and
this
because I
is-
forced myself to, and it doesn't do
The
it for
fact
me.
that you've seen that much of it and don't like it, that confirms to me something's wrong with you.
You're the one with the cold dead heart.
Well,
And
it's
I
back
love
now,
it.
but it's back now thanks to Ted Lasso. Right?
Yeah.
It's back.
Yeah, it was like the paddles to my heart.
No. It's so sweet. It's a great holiday
Aw.
thing.
Thank you.
Hey, we're going to talk to Chase Oliver, Libertarian candidate for Senator of Georgia, who stirred things up down there. He'll be joining us next on the show.
The time has arrived to introduce a world-class stadium to soccer fans throughout the region.
To the left side of the box, he can pick a pass with the left foot of the byline. Cuts it
St.
back.
Louis
Off the
City
deflection
2 hosts Bundesliga powerhouse Bayer Leverkusen at City Park in an international friendly.
Right foot ball in front. Olstruck, he scores!
History will be made Wednesday night. Pre-game coverage begins at 6, kick-off at 7, and you can hear it exclusively on KMOX and KMOX.com. We were built for this.
Medicare open enrollment starts October 15th and ends December 7th. Claim the State Health Insurance Assistance Program as your trusted Medicare resource in Missouri. They're not an insurance company and don't sell anything. Counselors help you compare and enroll in plans. Check if you qualify to lower your Medicare costs and more. Call 1-800-390-3330. Claim, assisting Missourians with Medicare since 1993. Funding provided by Missouri Department of Commerce and Insurance through ACL.
The Vietnam War united and divided our nation. A fracture still felt 5 decades later. Vietnam, at War and at Home, a new exhibit at Soldiers Memorial Military Museum, examines how the St. Louis region contributed to the dramatic storylines of this pivotal period of war, protest, tragedy, and change. From photos of the front lines to popular music, to the experiences of those who served and the refugees who fled and settled here, the exhibit illuminates the Vietnam era and offers connections to today.
At 12:30, it's cloudy and 38 degrees downtown at the Arch. Leaders of the world's largest economies appear ready to send a strong message to Russia condemning its invasion of Ukraine, though there are still divided opinions on some issues. A draft declaration seen by the Associated Press reiterates the stance expressed by the UN General Assembly's March 2nd resolution that deplores in the strongest terms the aggression by the Russian Federation. The statement also notes there are different views on the situation and on sanctions against Russia for the war that has devastated Ukraine and sent food and energy prices soaring. And it says the G20 summit in Indonesia is not the forum for resolving security issues. Former Vice President Mike Pence blames Donald Trump for endangering his family and all those serving at the Capitol on January 6, 2021 in his new memoir. The book is titled So Help Me God and is being released today. Pence shares his account of the day. Thousands of rioters stormed the Capitol, some of them chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." Right now, there's a stalled vehicle 70 east before I-170. The right lane is closed, and a crash on 30 west past Gravois Bluffs on the left shoulder. And the forecast is sponsored by St. Louis City SC. This afternoon, temperatures holding in the mid to upper 30s, maybe some rain, snow showers around this afternoon into the evening. Watch for icy spots overnight, the low 27, tomorrow's high 34. The new MLS club is now hiring stadium employees for the historic inaugural season to work for St. Louis's professional soccer team. Visit stlcitysc.com/jobs, stlcitysc.com/jobs. 38 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Be a part of St. Louis's newest holiday tradition at the Rep. Journey into the magical wonderland of the timeless classic, A Christmas Carol. Performances November 18th through December 30th. Tickets on sale at repstl.org.
You know, I recently saw Dr. Birdie over at the Ophthalmology Associates, and I highly recommend you see them too. Here's their number, 314-966-5000, 314-966-5000. You know them as the doctor's doctors, Dr. Birdie, Malhotra, Brusati, and Royer. They are the doctor's doctors because they've treated more than 250 doctors. That's more than any other practice. Now, here's something that I was dealing with, and I had never heard of it before. It's CVS. CVS, what is that? Computer Vision Syndrome. So it's a relatively recently recognized eye problem, probably for obvious reasons, but your eyes are continually washed by tears to keep them lubricated and working properly. This is done when you change your field of focus. So you're using the muscles around the eye to have tears to wash the eye surface. And there you go. Your eyes stay moist. You don't have a dry eye. Well, long periods focused on one spot, like a computer screen, like your phone, like an iPad, that prevents those tears from cleansing the eye, and it can cause computer vision syndrome. I talked to Dr. Birdie about that and what I could do to help deal with that dry eye feeling, because it's your eyes are irritated. It affects your quality of life, and certainly you don't want to have that itchy, scratchy feeling. If you do have that, you might have CVS, you might have dry eyes caused by something else. The doctors at Ophthalmology Associates, they are experts in the diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye. Call them today at 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Are you tired of paying fees and commissions year after year, even when you lose your money? How would you like to decrease fees and limit your risk? Join me, Ben Coons, for the Retirement and Income Radio Show, heard here every Saturday at 3 p.m. on KMOX Radio. You can also call me now for your complimentary retirement and income book at 844-513-SAFE. That's 844-513-7233.
Yeah, I was just at a convention with for one of the major manufacturers, and they were showing all the new products, and we were discussing all the new regulations that are starting in January. With that being said, there are new changes coming up next year. But if you want to get ahead of the curve and you think you're going to replace it, but you don't want to replace the system now, here's what I'm willing to do. I can buy all the equipment if you want to buy it now and put it in at a later date. I have a feeling it's going to save you 20%, 30%, which is huge on a furnace and air conditioner. If your system is 15, 20 years or older and you know you're going to do it, probably not time to be putting it off. I mean, we have 0% financing for up to 60 months if you qualify. I can help you out. Call me, Bart Inman. One easy number in Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Just this one name, Bart Inman. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
Get ready for men's Billikens basketball action tonight as they take on Memphis. Pre-game 7:47, tip at 8 on your home for Billikens basketball. KMOX.
All right, back at another show, 12:35. Chris Ranji, Amy Marks, Coors, Kevin Wheeler with you here. As you know, there is a runoff in Georgia for a Senate seat. That's between Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker. Obviously, Warnock, the Democrat, and Walker, the Republican. Well, there was an independent, a third party, a libertarian candidate in there by the name of Chase Oliver. And obviously, his presence meant that 2% of the people voting in Georgia chose him. That kept either of the other two candidates from reaching the 50% threshold, which is what you need in Georgia to win an election, hence the runoff. So we have Chase Oliver joining us here on the show, and great to have you, Chase. First of all, thanks for doing this. Secondly, I know you didn't really kind of enter this to stir it up and mix things up, but I know that that's kind of the effect that it's had. Talk to us a bit about what you were hoping to accomplish and what you'd still like your message to be coming forward.
You're right. I didn't want to be a disruptor. I obviously wanted to win this race, but I think the presence of 82,000 voters voting outside the two-party system is indicative that there are a lot of people who want more options out there.
And you said you wanted to win this race. Obviously, the odds are stacked against you, knowing that there is a good chance that you wouldn't. Were you going into it with the mentality that, well, at least I've got a shot?
Yeah, you don't go into a race without thinking that there is a possibility you can win through some congruence of events. And I went into this race wanting to be competitive. That's why I competed in the debates, and that's why in the debate that I wasn't invited to, I actually protested my lack of inclusion because, I thought that was kind of doing a disservice to the voters. If you're on the ballot, you should really be involved in the process, I think. And I did my best to try to be involved with the limited funding and limited ability that I had as a third-party candidate.
Just as a candidate, what did you think you offered the other two did not?
Well, one of the things that I ran on is being an honest broker in the U.S. Senate. Right now, because of hyperpartisanship, because of the way the two-party system functions, nothing is really getting done in the Senate, and leadership is just always at odds with each other. And what we really need in the United States Senate, and even if it's one of these runoff candidates, whoever, we need somebody in the United States Senate who's going to cross the aisle, who's actually going to get work done and say, you know what, it's more in the best interest of the state of Georgia to do work than to be a partisan. And that's what I offered, was to be an honest broker for the state of Georgia.
Chase, I've argued for years that we need more than Coke and Pepsi as a choice. I'm a Mountain Dew guy. I'd like to have 2 or 3 choices in addition to what we have. That's not practical. It's not happening. There's no money for it. And as I'm sure you found running this yourself and doing this out of your own home, there just isn't a lot of support for the third party candidate. How do we get to the point where more people are willing to look at those types of options?
So we actually have to reform our democratic process to let it be more responsive to the voters. First and foremost, if not voted was on the ballot, like people who didn't even go out to vote was on the ballot, it would have beaten Warnock, Walker, and myself in terms of vote totals. And that's because people are uninspired to vote because they feel like they don't really have options that reflect them. So we have to open up our democracy by increasing ballot access for independent and third-party candidates so they can get on the ballot easier. Take the state of Tennessee, for instance. To be a Republican or a Democrat to get on the ballot, you need 25 signatures. To be a third party, you have to have thousands of signatures. Does that seem fair? No. And we need to do away with things that make it harder to run as a third party. And then, of course, we need to instill ranked choice voting so people don't have this fear of being a spoiler. You can pick your first preferred choice first, and if they don't make it past the first round of voting, well, then you put your second choice down of who I can deal with this person. This is my second choice. And then you have an instant runoff, and we're not waiting weeks to see who the next senator is like we are right now in Georgia.
What do you say to people who maybe push back and say this: the ideals are great, but the way it is, it's a two-party system, and an independent candidate or a libertarian candidate is just going to mess it up for one of them, whether it's the Republicans or the Democrats?
Well, I think you've heard a lot of rhetoric, in particular in this election cycle, about how we need to preserve and defend democracy. And having more choices on your ballot does not harm democracy one bit. You're not ruining anything. You're picking your first choice. Your vote is your voice. If someone says, oh, well, your vote's wasted because you're voting for a third party, what they're really saying is my ideology and my beliefs are more important than yours, and you need to get in line with what I believe because I'm more important than you. And that's insulting to people. People should have a right to pick outside of the two-party system and to let their feelings be known. And if that results in somebody else winning an election, well, that's why we need things like ranked choice voting, so that you're not spoiling and you're still being able to be responsive to your democracy. Like, that's the thing. Again, most people don't, a lot of people don't even vote. The plurality of people do not vote. And that's a problem. We need to have a more engaged electorate, because otherwise we're going to get these two parties that continue to overspend and do away with our liberties.
And what do you say to expand on that? What do you say to people who are saying, well, he knows he's going to lose, so he's just in this race for name recognition or some other purpose?
Let me tell you right now, I would trade every bit of name recognition I had if we could pass ranked choice voting and ballot access reforms here in Georgia, so that not me, but a bunch of other people could get involved in the process and run at the local level, the state assembly level. There were dozens of races here in Georgia where there was only one name on the general election ballot, and that was because of gerrymandering and ballot access hurdles that prevented other candidates from getting on the ballot. And I think that's a shame, and that's a harm to our democracy, and that's poisonous. And I'm sounding the alarm. I'm not running because I wanted name notoriety. I'm running because there's a sickness in our democracy, and it's big government, and it's coming from both parties, and we need a solution.
Chase, do you consider yourself the reason there's a runoff?
Well, that and the fact that the other two candidates managed to spend $250 million and not inspire enough people to get out and vote. I inspired 82,000 people to get out and pull the lever with less than $10,000. My dollar per vote average is around a dime, whereas they were spending $20 or $30 to get each vote that they got. And, that to me says that there's a real thirst for something different. Did I cause the runoff in this situation? Yes, but it was also caused by the fact that enough voters didn't get out to select one of the other two candidates and get them over 50%. And they spent $250 million trying to do that. I would consider that a major failure from the two-party system.
Chase Oliver with us on the show. Chase, do you have a sense from your conversations with the people that you spoke with which side you maybe stole more from? Or do you feel like it was kind of balanced, that you took a little bit from the left, a little bit from the right?
So I use the term earned votes. I didn't steal votes. I earned them from
That's a good way.
people.
I appreciate the correction. I've been listening to Carrie Lake for way too many months. I'm sorry.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and I get you. And the truth is I felt like I earned those votes from across the spectrum. Most of my support, if you look at exit polling, actually came from people who identify themselves as independents, and that's actually the largest voting bloc in this country. And that's the people who are going to continue to grow as the partisan parties actually shrink. As they get more and more hyperpartisan, people will continue walking away. They might vote with one side or the other, but they're going to consider themselves independents. And I'm glad I can give independents a voice in this race. Where do I think it's going to hash out? I'm not trying to control people. Libertarians don't really like to control people or wield power. So I'm going to give that power to those 82,000 people to decide for themselves what's best for them, their family, and put their vote where it is.
You mentioned ranked choice voting. And in fact, the last mayoral election in St. Louis, we had a nonpartisan approval voting system, which is basically ranked choice voting. What are the chances that this type of system of ranked choice voting starts at local government and works its way up? Or do you think it needs to start from the top and work its way down?
Well, I think what you're seeing right now is you're seeing a definite need for it at the top of tickets. The most recent runoffs have been for U.S. Senate races in the state of Georgia. And that's the biggest thing that ranked choice voting or approval voting or any other alternative voting system would actually solve, is the need to have to wait weeks and spend millions of dollars to hold another election. And so while I would love for it to be at the local level, I also think it needs to really start at the state level here in Georgia, so that we can get past the expensive runoff system we have, but maintain a system where whomever gets elected has over 50% of the vote. We saw in Senate and House races all over the country on Tuesday, people who had under 50% of the vote, under half of the support of their district, who are now getting sent to represent 100% of the district. That is, again, another thing that leads to kind of this partisan poison in our system. We need to have ranked choice voting so we have the instant runoff. And so whomever gets sent has nominally 50% support plus one from their constituency.
So what are your thoughts on the state of Georgia being the focal point now?
Well, I think it's indicative of the independent spirit of Georgia, and we are a wonderful state full of broad diversity of opinion and lifestyle, and it's something that I'm proud to see because I would rather us be a competitive state than one that's just going to be red or blue all the time, where people just don't even pay us any attention. I'm glad we're getting the attention because it's good for Georgia, and I think it's something that we're going to see continue as Georgia continues to be a dynamic state in this union.
I've often said I don't feel represented politically, especially as partisan politics has become so polarized. On your Twitter bio, you describe yourself as armed and gay, which doesn't necessarily fit nicely into the red and blue categories. What has been people's response to that with how you describe yourself and where you stand?
Well, I think in Georgia, you see a lot more LGBT gun owners than maybe you might see in other places. That could be due to the fact that we have a large rural population. But the truth is I've always felt safer being able to defend myself. And I think if you really look back at the history of gun control in this country, a lot of it came out of historical bigotry for marginalized minority groups. That's why Reagan supported gun control when he was governor. It's because he didn't like the Black Panthers open carrying around California. So I think gun control to me is a way to limit people's freedom and to way to silence, especially marginalized minority groups who have to protect themselves most of all.
Where do you stand on all of the cries of stolen elections and candidates denying that they've lost? Seems to have died a bit during this past election, though it's not completely dead. Georgia has been, again, a focal point for that as well.
Well, I think what you're seeing is people who were election deniers really got walloped on Tuesday. And if you're looking at Republicans who weren't, we had a governor who stood up to Donald Trump in his election denial, and we had a Secretary of State who did the same. And it seems the electorate rewarded them for that. Now, it doesn't mean I agree with either of them on their policies but I just think in reading the tea leaves, you see that people who were election deniers were the big losers on Tuesday. And the Republicans who kind of bucked that actually weathered the storm quite well, especially down here in the South.
So last question, you obviously will have a decision to make since you're an active participant in all this. Do you know what's going to sway you? I wouldn't expect you necessarily to come on the radio and say, I'm voting for Warnock or I'm voting for Walker, but do you know what you need to hear in the next few weeks for someone to get your vote?
So really, I'm offered to host a forum for both of the candidates to come out and speak long form to the independent and libertarian voters. And really what I want to hear from them is what are they going to actually do to limit government in every aspect? So that's the questions that if they come to the forum, which I've invited them both to participate, they need to be prepared to say how they're going to limit government's role in our lives and how they're going to increase human liberty for each and every one of us. And that's what I'm really looking forward to seeing if they can answer those questions and maybe earn some of those 82,000 votes.
Chase, we appreciate your time, man. I know you're really busy and getting ready to get to work, so thanks for fitting us into your day, and we'll look forward to seeing how this all plays out.
And you guys have a great day. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
Chase Oliver was the Libertarian candidate to be the senator of Georgia. Only got 2% of the vote, but that was enough to lead to where we are right now, which is facing the runoff between Raphael Warnock and, of course, Herschel Walker. All right, stick around. We'll pick things back up in just a couple seconds. Hold on. Before we go anywhere, Michael Calhoun is in from the KMOX newsroom, apparently with breaking news.
This has just crossed the Associated Press wire. A senior U.S. intelligence official says that those Russian missiles that we've been talking about, that at least one of them has crossed into NATO member country, Poland, and 2 people in Poland have been killed. Again, a senior U.S. official says that Russian missiles have crossed into Poland and killed 2 people.
Michael, thanks for the update. We'll obviously be tracking that in the news. That's not good.
That does not seem good.
No.
Oh, boy.
No, there's going to, certainly there's going to have to be some investigation into all of that. But that's the whole point of NATO is that the whole protects all of the individuals involved there. We'll be tracking that in the news at the top of the hour and obviously other things as we continue here on the show.
Get ready for a one-of-a-kind audio-visual experience. Timeless and everlasting. KMOX welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve, the best of TSO and more. Live in concert, 3 p.m. Saturday, December 10th at Enterprise Center. Don't miss this holiday tradition. $1 of each ticket sold to the 3 p.m. show will go to SSM Health Cardinal Glennon. Get full ticket and show details on the events page at KMOX.com.
If you own a business, you know the past couple of years have been a pretty bumpy ride. Well, the fine folks at GetRefunds.com, they could potentially really help you out. If your business has 5 or more employees and managed to survive COVID, you could be eligible to receive a payroll tax rebate of up to $26,000 per employee. That's right. This is not a loan. There's no payback. This is simply a refund of your taxes. I know the hard part is getting your hands on it. How do you know how to even apply for that? How do you know if your business qualifies? Well, the team of tax attorneys they've put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program, and they've already returned $1 billion to businesses, and they can help you too. Now, this payroll tax refund is available only for a limited amount of time, so you don't want to wait. And don't automatically disqualify yourself thinking, "Oh, I don't think my business will qualify because I took PPP or I'm a nonprofit or I saw an increase in sales." Nope, you potentially could still qualify. Your business could still be eligible for this refund, and the team of tax attorneys over at GetRefunds.com, they can help you sort through all that to see if your business qualifies. So go to GetRefunds.com.
If you own a house in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is, without any inspections or the need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes St. Louis at 314-328-8000 or at chrisbuyshomes.louis.com and get your cash offer without any obligations, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant houses, inherited houses, fixer-uppers, beautiful houses, even the tenant won't pay the rent apartment. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis. That's Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis, and check out the best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move, according to your schedule and your terms. Go to chrisbuyshomesinstlouis.com. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis or call 314-328-8000. That's 314-328-8000. Call Chris and get the offer you've been waiting for. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis.com. That's Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis.com or call 314-328-8000.
We're coming up on the holiday season. That means it is time for the Tree of Hope campaign. That's where we here at KMOX, along with all of our sister stations in the Odyssey St. Louis group, partner with SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital to help families in need. And again, we do this around the holiday season, but this is a need that is served year round. Now, at this time, I know it's important to understand. Things can be challenging in and around the holidays for families who have children that need special care. People that have newborns that need surgeries. There are all kinds of services performed at Cardinal Glennon. And it's a year-round benefit when it comes to this seasonal campaign with the Tree of Hope campaign. And you can find out more by just checking out Glennon.org. Of course, you can donate at KMOX.com/Cardinal Glennon or by texting 20357. Those donations fund programs that aren't always covered by insurance. And keep in mind that Cardinal Glennon takes care of everyone regardless of their ability to pay. And we've partnered with obviously all kinds of people at the hospital. I have some great interviews coming your way as we get into the month of December to tell you more about what they do. But if you want to know more about the stories and how Cardinal Glennon impacts families, go to glennon.org/our-patients. You can find out more about what's going on, and hopefully that'll be something that inspires you to help donate. And again, it's 20357 or KMOX.com/Cardinal Glennon.
Don't fall behind on your garage door maintenance. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis for our 26-point tune-up. It's only $89.95. That's one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Always look for the genuine, the original red ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Trusted by St. Louis homeowners since 1926. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com or call 314-781-5200.
Hey, it's Trish Gazelle. Remember Old Newsboys Day? It's back this Thursday. I'll be selling papers for the benefit of children's charities at Celebrity Corner, Gravois and Lindbergh. Stop by 7 to 9 a.m. Old Newsboys Day this Thursday, November 17th, South Lindbergh at Gravois. See you there.
Hi, it's Debbie Monterey, and I see clearly thanks to Doctors Birdie and Malhotra. You can too. Go to youridoc.com today or call 314-966-5000. Home Sweet Home mission is to give underserved families a sense of pride and to improve the quality of their lives by providing basic household furnishings. To learn more, go to homesweethomestl.org.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444. Kevin, Amy, and Chris now.
Best friends together.
Dave Glover at 2 on KMOX.
All right, coming up on the top of the hour news, I'm sure there'll be news at the top as well. We'll be keeping you updated on what's going on. I was going to say in Ukraine, but really it's in Poland. We had the reports just here in the last 10 to 15 minutes that 2 Russian missiles have hit in Polish territory near the Ukraine border and killed 2 people. Now, there are reports that Poland has scrambled fighter jets, I'm sure, to make sure that nothing else is going to be going on. But keep in mind, that, they're a member of NATO. And I saw a tweet from a reporter from The National point out that Poland could opt to invoke Article 5 of collective defense in the NATO agreement, that an attack on one is an attack on all. That is the point of NATO, is that the whole protects each individual in the group, because obviously you're talking about a lot of nations that are smaller. But either way, this is going to be probably the story for quite some time.
Well,
this is a legitimately big deal.
So I guess the question is, was it accidental? I don't feel like much that Putin has done has been accidental. If he's attacked civilian areas, he's done it on purpose for the last several months. I don't know if he intended to do this, because it is very close to the Ukraine border where this happened. It was a farm,
right?
According to reports. So I know the Polish prime minister and the president, they have an emergency meeting. Like you said, they scrambled the fighter jets. Does this lead all of us into an actual war, or does Russia try to explain it away as an accident?
Well, I mean, Russia has not been known exactly for their military prowess and surgical precision so far.
Yeah, they're using shoddy equipment in a lot of cases.
In their attack, so it could be an actual misfire of these missiles, which would not be unprecedented for them.
Well, we'll be following the developments on that story if and when they come across the board. But obviously, anything that comes across on that will be the top news, and we'll cover that as well as everything else we have planned for the 1 o'clock hour coming up on the show.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No, we tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our clients' best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured, so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly, different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
The pain was so bad, it felt like I was walking on knife blades. It took my life away. And my doctor recommended that I go to Good Feet. I took about 4 steps to start to cry. It was the first time that I had no pain. I'm not an actor. I want people to know, whether you're young or old, these are life-changing. I've tried the rest. The best is Good Feet. I'm ready to rock and roll, man. Let's go to the ballpark. We're going to Monster Jams. We're going camping. My attitude's changed. I'm a happier man. I'm like a regular dad now. The kids have seen that change and that confidence in dad, and they like the new dad.
Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive, Catty Corner from TGI Fridays, or in Shiloh, Illinois, across from Deerberg's.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. Come in and try the Good Feet feeling today. Comfort, energy, performance, and pain relief at the Good Feet store.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
Your home of the Chiefs. This is KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Paramount Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Brown. The physicians at Paramount Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Paramount Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now, 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 1 o'clock, it's a cloudy sky and 39 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour.
KMOX is covering breaking news.
A senior U.S. intelligence official says Russian missiles have crossed into NATO member Poland and killed 2 people. A Polish government spokesman did not immediately confirm that information, but said its top leaders were holding an emergency meeting due to a crisis situation. Polish media reported that 2 people died this afternoon after a projectile struck an area where grain was drying in a village near the border with Ukraine. Meantime, air raid sirens are being heard across much of Ukraine. Those Russian airstrikes are targeting energy facilities in and around Kyiv. CBS News correspondent Chris Livesay says the timing comes on the heels of Russia's reclaiming of Kherson.
Russia is clearly reeling and has apparently used these strikes as an opportunity to punish Ukraine.
Again, our breaking news, word that Russian missiles have crossed into NATO member Poland, killing 2 people there. Stay tuned to KMOX for the latest on this developing story. Police say 4 University of Idaho students found dead in an off-campus home were targeted and the killer or killers used a knife or other edged weapon. Many students have returned to their homes.
A lot of people left last night, and then we were one of the only ones who actually stayed here last night.
The University of Virginia says all 3 students who were shot to death Sunday night played for the school's football team. Police allege they were killed by a fellow student and former player who was arrested after an hours-long manhunt. CBS News senior investigative correspondent Catherine Herridge.
3 UVA football players were killed. Second-year wide receiver Devin Chandler was an honor roll student who had previously played at Wisconsin. Third-year wide receiver Lavelle Davis Jr. was a 3-star recruit from South Carolina. He had just won a scholarship for the school year. And fourth-year linebacker Deshaun Perry hailed from Miami, Florida, another 3-star recruit who majored in studio art.
Authorities say the initial charges of second-degree murder could be upgraded as investigators learn more information about the attack and the suspect's intent. The city of Shrewsbury is moving forward toward final passage of a law against prospecting for unlocked cars.
The new law would make it a crime to go from car to car, and there are many cars parked out on the street here in Shrewsbury, and just check the door handles. Right now, there's no law against that, but this vehicle prowling bill would make it a fine of up to $1,000 or 3 months in jail if caught. It is patterned after a similar law already passed by the St. Louis County Council, and it is expected to come up for a final vote next Tuesday. In Shrewsbury, Kevin Killeen, KMOX News.
The First Mid Bank and Trust Business Desk, more shoppers at Walmart.
Walmart is doing well with shoppers and with investors. The stock is on track to erase its losses for the year after Walmart revealed that inflation drove more shoppers to its stores in recent months looking for savings on groceries in particular. Tracy Jonke, Bloomberg Radio.
And the Dow from Stifel is turned to the red, down 129 points to 33,407. We've got some debris on 6440 going west before Lindbergh. It's got the 2 right lanes closed. A stall on 70 east before I-170. That's got the right lane closed. And a look at the forecast.
KMOX AccuWeather, rather cloudy, damp, cold this afternoon. There are going to be some showers and rain or snow around later this afternoon, this evening as we hold in the mid-upper 30s, and then cold later tonight as we clear out a bit. Watch for icy spots down to 27, and then a couple of afternoon flurries up to 34 tomorrow. Low 40s Thursday, colder low 30s Friday, and then upper 30s to near 40 on Saturday as the cold air continues to be around. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Dean DeVore, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Cloudy sky, 38 in Florissant, 38 in St. Peters, 39 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
All right, coming up on 105 on the show, Chris Ranji, Amy Marks, Kors, Kevin Wheeler with you here. And as mentioned during the news, anything that comes across on the reported incident in Poland. So the report was that Russian missiles that were fired at Ukraine somehow ended up hitting Poland right on the Ukrainian border with Poland, hitting apparently a farm and killing 2 people. Certainly there's going to be an investigation into that. There are going to be all kinds of, it'll start with, it sounds like the Polish government getting together and talking about it and certainly finding out what the facts on the ground are. And then, of course, it could escalate from there to becoming a NATO issue. And right now we're just, I guess, waiting, see what's next.
Yeah, and the Associated Press reporting that a Polish government spokesperson says leaders there are, quote, in crisis situation. So, yeah, it sounds pretty bad. Clearly, people were killed, but where this happened could lead us down a path to a more extended and more intense campaign, which will involve more countries, potentially us. So hopefully that's not what happens. We might be getting from CBS special reports. If that happens, it should be within about 15 minutes. And then again near the top of the hour. So the top of next hour.
And you would,
so we don't know yet. But.
Yeah, and you would think Putin wouldn't want to engage NATO. And if he did, you wouldn't think that this is how he would do it.
No.
It seems odd. Again, there's going to be more of an investigation into that. And as we said earlier, there's a lot of shoddy equipment, Soviet era equipment in the Russian military. And they definitely have been known to misfire, miss their targets completely in the past. So we'll keep an eye on that, and any breaking news that does happen, we'll put it on the air.
Yeah, and the important part too, because World War III is already trending on Twitter, which is ridiculous. Yeah. Everybody needs to calm down, find out exactly what happened, which is what the Polish government is going to do. They're going to find out exactly what they can find out, and we'll go from there. But for people to already be going down into that space where it's like, oh my God, it's more. Just calm down.
You're right, but I also
it could be terrible.
Yeah,
and it could also be something that's explained as a mistake, and people accept the explanation. We just don't know at this point.
You are. We need to kind of step back and relax a bit and just let this play out before we just declare it's going to be another world war. But I understand where people's fears lie. It isn't entirely out of the question that this escalates. We've known for months that Vladimir Putin has been on the verge of defeat in Ukraine. He's had victories, he's made progress, then he's had to back out. And what's happened over the last week, in him leaving a major city because things are not going particularly well, there was always that fear. And we talked to McCausland, and we talked to Mark Hertling, and all of these military experts who had fears that he would try to escalate, that he would never just accept outright defeat, and that there wasn't much of an off-ramp for him. We don't know if this was an intentional escalation, if, like Amy said, this was a mistake, but I think the fears are legitimate that this dude would try to burn it all down if he thought he was losing.
Yeah, you don't know. And again, if you have an egotistical, monomaniacal, pseudo-imperialist in Putin, which is what you have, and he's increasingly isolated, and he's got this military at his disposal. He has nuclear weapons at his disposal. You cannot assume that he will make decisions based on any rational line of thought.
Right.
So there is that. Also, when we talk about the war crimes that he has been committing and that people have been documenting in Ukraine, all of the war crimes that are being committed by Russian soldiers against Ukrainian people, yes, the international community already views him as a pariah. You would think that there'd be when this conflict comes to an end, that what will that look like for Putin? Because we talked to Major Garrett about this. We talked to Colonel Jeff McCausland about this. When you have a tyrant like Putin who's been accused of war crimes and you need him to be held accountable for his actions, well, you either do that by vanquishing a nation state's military, which we're not sure if that's going to happen, or if the conflict were to come to an end via negotiation, part of that negotiation might be letting Putin off the hook, even though in all reality, he would be a pariah on the global scale. And, when you think about the war in Ukraine now and how it's been going on for 9 months, we have limited, I call it emotional bandwidth, to be able to take in all that's happening in the world. Think of the school shootings we've been dealing with. We're dealing with things on a local level, on a national level. And while the war in Ukraine was on the front page of newspapers months ago, it's no longer on the front page every single day. And yet that war is still going on. Just because we're not seeing it on the front page of the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times, it doesn't mean that there's any less magnitude to the conflict. And for me, that's something that's hard to wrap my brain around. These people have been living this now.
Yeah, and the atrocities are so bad. And we've already uncovered quite a few of them. Well, we haven't, but we've heard about a lot of the things that have happened because they've been uncovered. And I'm sure that when this is over, whenever it is, that we were going to find out so many more terrible things that were going on in Ukraine at the hands of Russians.
Yes.
And whether those things were sanctioned or individual soldiers committing these acts upon their own volition, or if they were instructed that it's okay, you can play fast and loose with the rules and do whatever you feel like you want to do. People should be held to account, whether it's him, whether it's the soldiers, the generals, the people in the field, whoever it is, they should be held to account at some point. And I imagine that job will be very difficult.
It's so interesting because some of the most extraordinary coverage on the ground, boots on the ground in Ukraine, has come from the Washington Post. And Isabel Kershudian, I met her in 2019 when the Blues were on their Stanley Cup run. She covered the Washington Capitals Stanley Cup victory season in 2018 as the Washington Capitals, the hockey team, the reporter for the Washington Post. And because she was also a senior writer for sports in the hockey world, in 2019, she was at all of the Blues games as they drew closer to the Cup. Why does that matter? I remember talking to her, and she was going to be either a reporter at the Moscow bureau or the Kabul bureau. I mean, and think of the international news over the past couple of years. It's been Afghanistan, and Russia, Ukraine, and she speaks Russian. She speaks Arabic. She speaks all these different languages, and she was going to go to one of those two areas to bring the truth of what's happening to all of the readers in the United States. And again, I mean, my goodness, going to Afghanistan would not be an easy place for a woman to go and to work in that bureau. So she's the Moscow bureau chief. She's been in Ukraine this entire time, the entire time of the conflict, with the bulletproof vest on, the helmet, the badge that says press, and her stories from whether it's Ukrainians whose job it is to gather the dead Russian soldiers' bodies and get them ready to go back to Russia, the men who were tortured, imprisoned by Russian soldiers, the families that live in underground tunnels of public transportation. It's incomprehensible to our reality here. I mean, we have it pretty pretty good in St. Louis. It's hard to imagine that.
A texter to 314-436-7900 is he goes by Gunny. He says, before everyone loses their mind, NATO is not going to war with Russia. Not over this incident. Russia has been playing fast and loose with their missiles, committing war crimes as well. However, wars are not black and white matter. Wars are mostly in shades of gray. I doubt this will result in Article 5 invocation. NATO will respond proportionally. And I mean, that's a measured take, and that's probably what's going to happen here. My guess is
It's not.
I don't
like
think we're
World
necessarily headed to World War III.
No.
You have to be conscious of it, though.
But let me push back. Why? What does being conscious of that possibility fix or
Because it's not a
change?
trigger. It's
No,
not
I
an
understand.
automatic trigger.
Right. This is my point.
You're saying why entertain the idea we might go to war?
I'm saying, why do we have to speculate about it? And I don't mean you and me and Amy. I'm just talking about it in general. Like, what's
Well, I
the
don't know how it
benefit?
could-
I mean, like, being aware of it is fine. Okay, we're aware of what the rules of NATO are. We're aware that Article 5 says that an attack on one is an attack on all. But I don't understand where the advancement of the discussion is beyond that, because we just don't know anything.
No, I think
Again, I'm not talking about us.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the grander, the kind of the excitement that follows, the nervous energy, the panic that follows these kinds of stories. I mean, it's important to understand what possibilities are, but possibility is not probability. And let's be honest, none of us, and by mean none of us, I mean nobody outside of the people that have done the investigation on the ground in Poland have a really good idea of what exactly has happened.
No, I don't think that's what it is. Well, for some people, yeah, they are taking that next step and saying, yeah, well, we're going to war now. It's going to be World War III. I think for the rest of us, it's this acknowledgement that is a possibility. And I don't know how you couldn't think that. I mean, my first thought when I saw the report was, where's this going to go? And how bad is it going to get? I think for a lot of us, you just kind of go through the permutations in your mind of what could be the end result of this. Like, is it a further escalation where we are in it? Like, we are really in it? Or is this just going to be an event that is explained away and we may not be satisfied with the explanation, but we're not going to go to war as a result of it?
Yeah, because people, you're not going to go start World War III on, I hate to call it a technicality, but one of those things, right? We're like, well, it's a NATO country. Everything is, as you said, is dependent on context and then the scale and the scope and looking into it. But I think you can't help but pay attention when you've been following this conflict. You see Ukraine, you see Russia, you know what the NATO alliance means. And it's one of those things where, yeah, Russian missiles heading into Poland, this is something we're going to pay attention to.
Right.
There's no...
Yeah, it's newsworthy.
Yeah.
And I'm not even, that's not the argument. The argument is that it already becomes a discussion about Article 5, and we have no idea what Poland's position even is on this. And I don't mean, again, I'm not talking about our conversation.
They're currently in crisis situation is what they've called it. So
Right. And they're what we don't know exactly what direction they're going to go. They might find enough evidence to say, listen, we need to get together with all of NATO and talk about this because this requires a response of a serious nature. And it might end up being that they realize, yep, this was done in error and there's going to be some punishment, but it certainly wouldn't be at the level of a military escalation. So, and keeping in mind too, like Amy pointed out, from our perspective, this stuff is happening way over there, and people that are right next door, like Poland and all of NATO, probably have a lot more, not probably, certainly have a lot more immediately at stake there, and are going to probably want to proceed with caution as opposed to, this quick escalation of a conversation where we don't have enough information to go there yet.
Yeah. Another texter from a 573. You guys are acting like Putin is going to be arrested. War crime. Cuff him. Read him his rights. Who's going to Moscow? Funny. No, we literally just said it would be difficult to do that. What we're saying is he should be held accountable. I don't believe he's actually going to be held accountable. I think it's possible this whole thing ends in his death, but I don't think he's ever going to be arrested and be tried as a war criminal. What I'm saying is he has committed war crimes, or war crimes have been committed on his watch, and he should be held accountable.
Well, that's
but I
also
also
our
recognize
texter
it as difficult.
It's also our texter that knows everything about everything.
Oh, yeah,
And I
that
will
guy knows
say-
everything about everything.
just as a point of parliament, he also missed the exact point we were making, which was talking to Colonel Jeff McCausland, talking to Major Garrett. They said the only way he's held accountable is if the country is vanquished, and that's most likely not going to happen.
No.
So the idea that he would get off of without any punishment whatsoever is likely in negotiations. Quite literally what we said.
Right. Yeah. We're not stupid here.
Nobody.
We know this is very unlikely. He could be killed. That's probably the worst punishment he could face is him somehow being killed in some manner. I don't know how that would be. But it's very unlikely he is punished appropriately for the things that have happened over the last 9 months.
We'll be tracking the story as we go along. If there's news, we will break it right here on KMOX.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to The Dave Glover Show and all the news, talk, sports, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
All right, guys, for a long time in my life, actually for most of my life up until a few months ago, I had never gone in for any check of my eyes. Not an annual thing, not an everything. I didn't have glasses. Never worn contacts, never had any issues with vision. So I just never thought I needed to do it. But after having my appointment with Dr. Ranja Malhotra as a part of the team at Ophthalmology Associates, the doctors, I learned that this is probably just a good idea for your routine. I mean, you don't know if there's a problem coming down the road if you're not looking down the road. That was one of the great lessons I learned with Dr. Malhotra. Also figured out that, this itchiness and dryness that I had in my eyes was an easily solvable problem. I thought I was just maybe needing some more sleep or whatever. It turned out I have the salty tears, which makes the eyes feel irritated sometimes. Got some eye drops. It's all taken care of very simply, and it can be done that way for you as well. Call 314-966-5000 or visit youridoc.com. You can set up an appointment there. We got Dr. Greg Birdie, Dr. Ranja Malhotra is who I saw, Dr. Robert Prasadi, Dr. Andy Royer. They are the doctors because they've treated more doctors in the St. Louis area than any other practice. And if their fellow medical professionals are coming to them, it kind of tells the story that you need to know. They are experts in the diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye. So you call for that appointment. Again, it's 314-966-5000. They're just a half mile west of 270 on Manchester. So pretty easy to get to from pretty much anywhere in town. 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
If you or someone you know is experiencing a mental health, suicide, or substance use crisis, call, text, or chat 988. There is hope. The Lifeline works. 988 for 24/7 confidential support. A message from the Missouri Department of Mental Health.
Let's talk real estate for a minute. The St. Louis market is kind of tricky for home sellers right now, with home values going down and not selling as quickly. Now is not the time to risk losing precious equity on your home. This is Debbie Monterey, and I always recommend calling Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria's the best. She's experienced every type of market, both good, great, and the not so good. So before you list your home for sale, call Gloria, and here's why. Gloria Liu will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or she'll buy it herself, guaranteed in writing. Gloria already has the buyers, thousands of buyers in her database. In fact, your home may already be sold. Gary and Angela called Gloria and sold their home even before it listed because Gloria had several buyers looking for a home in that area. Call Gloria Lou today at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or find her online at gloriahasthebuyers.com.
This time of year, you might notice that the brick in your patio is going astray. Call Morelli. Hi, this is Charlie Brennan for Morelli Tuck Pointing, which has won every award possible in this industry, including the Better Business Bureau Torch Award, which is only given to companies with exceptional customer service. Morelli Tuck Pointing is the masonry specialist, serving St. Louis and beyond for 31 years. Morelli can do completely solid houses and buildings, spot pointing with color match, brick and stone repair, foundation repair, walkways, porches, patios, caulking, waterproofing solutions, and much more. Family owned and operated, and a lot of longtime employees that are like family. Call and request a free and quick estimate at 314-645-1387 or online at MorelliTuckPointing.com. And don't forget to check out their great reviews on the Google and Better Business Bureau websites. 314-645-1387 or MorelliTuckPointing.com.
Work or play, KMOX is right there with you. We go where you go.
All right, it's 125 on the show. We're going to grab some audio. Yesterday, we had Jim Talent on DGS talking about all kinds of things with the international conflicts. I mean, hit on China, all the things that are going on in Iran. But we also did hit on the general big picture situation with Russia. And we were focusing more on Ukraine, but obviously today's news brings a new angle to that. So we're going to grab a little bit of that so you could hear what Jim Talent had to say yesterday about it, because obviously Jim's area is this kind of international politics, and that's what he works in, international security, things along those lines. And I thought what he had to say about Russia was really interesting about their position, and we'll kind of tie that into the news from today coming up after the news.
Yeah, and also there is some, just off topic here, there is some national news. We know that it is very likely, I don't think it's been officially said, but the Republican Party is going to take control of the House of Representatives. I think we've known that for a while. It's going to be a close vote in the end, or a close result in the end, but that means there will be a new Speaker of the House. And there are multiple reports that Kevin McCarthy has won the internal vote for Speaker. That means among his own party. As expected, 188 to 31. So 31 people in the party voted against him. Of course, he has to have 218 votes to officially become Speaker in January. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens and to see if he can court enough of the far right in his party to be able to get those votes. But Andy Biggs is the one who got the 31 votes. Andy Biggs out of Missouri. Andy Biggs out of Arizona.
And then also, Wheels, you said you talked to Jim Talent a bit about China in the news because President Joe Biden did meet with the Chinese leader Xi Jinping yesterday for their first in-person meeting since Joe Biden has been president. It makes sense because we've been in COVID, but I guess I was like, oh yeah, they haven't met in person since then. Any major takeaways, or what was Jim Talent's focus in that conversation about China? I know he's very plugged in that field.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the right description. High level of concern.
Yeah.
He's very worried about the way that he put it yesterday. Very worried about that possibility of something happening in Taiwan. That, obviously China is in a position that's unique. It's not like Russia, right? Russia doesn't have a lot of the leverage it could have over other countries in terms of economics, right? China is a major player in the world economy, and they're also a far more advanced military at this point, based on what we've seen from Russia in Ukraine. And again, this is not my analysis. This is essentially what I'm summing up what we heard from Jim Talent yesterday when I was filling in for Dave on DGS. That his biggest concern, the number one thing that he's got his eye on, is that all of the developments in China, and whether or not it's going to include Taiwan, but just in general, the threat that they pose because of the power that they've accumulated both militarily and economically. Kind of puts them at a level that Russia is just not at. All right, coming up after the news, we're going to hear a little bit of that conversation, the part pertaining to Russia. Michael Calhoun's got the news coming up with a special report on those missiles that hit Poland as well.
I only know what life looks like and feels like through my eyeballs.
It's my
I wonder if anyone is where they thought they would be. I'm not where I thought I would be even 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Life changes so much. Yeah, hey, make your plans, do what you want to do, whether it's marriage or kids or your job or your health.
Discover the life of Dave Glover.
I'm surprised at how surprising life is.
Weekday afternoons beginning at 2, only on KMOX.
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-5555. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, behind on taxes houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-5555. That's 314-782-5555.
Carol Daniel for Ophthalmology Associates. For the best eye doctors, you need to see the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Online at youridoc.com or 314-966-5000.
Congress has authorized trillions in new spending, along with doubling the size of the IRS agency in just the last few months. Do you think that is by accident? No, it is with a purpose: to go after small businesses, employees, and individuals who have not filed or paid their taxes. If this is you, don't panic, just call. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee, which includes costs and expenses, that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120. Or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
At 1:30, it's cloudy and 40 degrees downtown at the Arch.
85.
CBS News Brief. The Pentagon says it is now working to confirm reports that Russian missiles have crossed into Poland near the Ukrainian border. At least 2 people died in the explosion. Meantime, Ukraine's president made a plea to world leaders via video today at the G20. CBS's Nancy Cordes.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky addressed this group by video, and he urged them not to ask him to compromise with Russia at this time.
Former President Trump will announce his bid for president later tonight. Republican strategist Doug Hay.
It certainly could make candidates move faster if they're serious about looking at this race. Donald Trump scares a lot of people off, and he knows that.
55 million Americans will travel during Thanksgiving week despite high inflation and gas prices. Aixa Diaz is with AAA.
People just aren't willing to give up the travel. So they're budgeting in other ways. People are cutting back perhaps in the types of restaurants they go to, the types of shopping they do.
CBS News Brief. I'm Monica Ricks.
And traffic-wise, we've got a vehicle fire, 270 north before Doherty Ferry's got the 2 right lanes closed. Some debris on 6440 west before Lindbergh, the center lanes closed. And the forecast for this afternoon, shower or rain or snow around as we go into the evening. Temperatures holding in the mid to upper 30s, and it turns cloudy, cold later tonight. Watch for icy spots, low 27 degrees, and a mix of clouds and sun tomorrow with a couple of afternoon flurries and a high of 34. It's 40 degrees at the moment downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
You know, the Midwest money slogan, isn't cash in the bank better than scrap in the drawer? This is Johnny Rabbit, Midwest Money, the oldest coin shop in St. Louis. Buying, selling, and trading since 1971. Silver and gold, coins, sterling silver, flags, medals, daggers, and more. Not sure what you have? Bring your collectibles to someone you can trust. Midwest Money at the corner of Hampton and Holly Hills. You'll be happy you did.
All right. Funny story today. What happened at the office? I was trying to shred. It didn't do it. There was no noise. It wasn't doing anything. And Michelle, who is works in the office, she is truly a great employee. She goes, oh yeah, but sometimes if you shake it, she got up, she walked over and she shook it. She goes, now try it. And I put the document in and it worked. And she goes, see, there, fixed. That's the reason she's in the office and she's not one of my techs. That is true. So today, Wednesday, I'm gonna make this month every Wednesday. It's gonna be Michelle Day. Keep up the good work. Now, if you do need something fixed, it will not be Michelle that will be coming out. It'll be me and one of my great techs. So call me, Bart Inman. One easy number in Missouri and Illinois. Just this one number and one name. 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com.
It's Thursday Night Football as the Titans take on the Packers. Catch the game here. Kickoff at 7. The Titans, the Packers. Football on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
It's 1:35 on the show. Chris Ranji, Amy Marks, Scores, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Yesterday, obviously, it was not here with you guys. I was filling in for Dave on DGS. And we had Jim Talent, former U.S. Senator, who obviously has an expertise in foreign policy. And we were talking about all of the things that have been going on internationally, right? From all the stuff that you mentioned last segment, Amy, with what's going on in China and, animosity towards Taiwan and some worry about potential action coming there. We talked about all the protests in Iran and what's happening there. But we also spent a little bit of time on Russia. And one of the questions I asked Jim Talent as we were talking about the Russia situation, we were clearly talking about Ukraine, but I asked whether or not in the actions that we've seen there, in the stuff that we've seen online and meddling with elections and doing all of those things, essentially whether or not Russia and Putin have turned themselves into more than just an adversary.
We had successive American presidents who kidded themselves about Putin. I think Trump was probably the best, but he's made himself an adversary of the United States. You're exactly right, and not just in Europe, although he threatens NATO allies there, but in the Middle East, where he has a foothold. He's propped up Bashar Assad, and he's an ally of the Iranians and was before this war. And then especially made himself explicitly the junior partner for Xi Jinping in Indo-PACOM. In other words, he has deliberately gone out of his way to basically attempt to hurt the United States and its vital interests abroad. So, we owe him nothing. I mean, in honor, in friendship, or in interest. And the weakening of the Russian state is a good thing for us, which is the reason behind our policy.
So that policy, of course, helping Ukraine in their resistance against Russia's invasion. And then we get to the news today, which, of course, is that Russian missiles, according to reports, Russian missiles found their way into Poland in the area that's near the Ukraine border, which is, got the Polish government meeting, certainly investigating, the facts in that case. And look, it's raising a lot of questions because we see now just in the last 24 hours. And it's interesting because this is a big deal, of course. It's a big story, but you also had him earlier today. You had was it the mayor of Kiev who said that they shelled civilian buildings?
Something like 85 missiles into I don't know if they were all into Kiev, but they were in city centers, I'm pretty sure, or at least civilian population.
You're talking about this morning?
Yes.
Yeah. So Russia hit Ukraine's energy facilities with its largest barrage of missiles yet so far. So they've been hitting targets all across Ukraine.
Right.
And there are widespread blackouts across the country because of just that volley of missiles that have been hitting specifically energy facilities across the country.
Man, the hard part with all of it, I know from our perspective, and we're not going to keep on with this for too much longer. It's been breaking news, and we're going to keep you updated whether there are special reports that come from CBS News or just with our top and bottom of the hour news with Michael Calhoun running things in the KMOX newsroom. We just want to make sure that we cover the angles that we can. And this is something, I think that was telling in the Jim Talent clip that we played from yesterday. That they have clearly made themselves into an adversary. We've known that already. And it was always kind of more behind the scenes up until not that long ago. And now you're starting to see it. And again, we don't know if this thing in Poland was intentional or not. That's certainly part of what needs to be discovered, whether that was something they planned on doing, wanted to do. Maybe, I forget it. I'm not going to speculate with what their reasoning may be. We don't know that yet. We just know that what's reported to have happened. But it's interesting to look at the bigger picture here and think about the plotted points, right? Because we don't know where it goes. It may just be a continuation of the situation that we have right now, which is probably untenable for the long term, but certainly isn't escalating to a level outside of that region.
So from all of the strikes this morning with Russian missiles into Ukraine, the country of Moldova, which is close to Ukraine, was also affected. So they've experienced massive power outages across their country as key power lines were hit. And President Zelensky, he noted that Russia fired at least 85 missiles, quote, most of them at our energy infrastructure. And again, those energy facilities, he's promising that they're working to restore everything, but it is the, quote, most massive bombardment of power facilities in 9 months of this Russian invasion.
The spokesperson, Pentagon spokesperson, Brigadier General Patrick Ryder, says the Department of Defense is aware of the unconfirmed reports of the missiles hitting Poland. Quote, I can tell you that we don't have any information at this time to corroborate those reports and are looking into this further. So that is what he said just a few moments ago.
All right, we'll keep you updated on that story. We got a little bit more time left here on the show. Dave Glover Show coming up after the 2:00 news.
Well, it has been a tough ride for our businesses across the country with supply chain issues, COVID restrictions, shutdowns. You know what's been going on. And if you are a company that has 5 or more employees and you managed to survive the past couple of years, well, you could be eligible to receive a payroll tax rebate of up to $26,000 per employee. Now, it's important to note that this isn't a loan, that there's no payback. It is quite literally a refund of your taxes. Here's the website, getrefunds.com, getrefunds.com. Now, this payroll tax refund is available only for a limited amount of time, so you don't want to wait out. Or wait a long time. You don't want to miss out. You want to head over to getrefunds.com to see if your business qualifies. And again, if your business took PPP, if you are a nonprofit, even if you saw an increase in sales, you still could be eligible for this tax refund. The team of tax attorneys that they've put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program, and they've already returned $1 billion to businesses, and they can help you too. Remember, businesses of all types can qualify. To find out if your business qualifies, just go to getrefunds.com.
Like a personal shopper, Health Markets can help find a Medicare Advantage plan that's right for you. Enrollment ends December 7th. Visit shop.healthmarkets.com. Health Markets Insurance Agency, Inc. is licensed as an insurance agency in all 50 states and D.C. Not all agents are licensed to sell all products. Service and product availability varies by state. Sales agents may be compensated based on a consumer's enrollment in a health plan. No obligation to enroll. We do not offer every plan available in your area. Any information we provide is limited to those plans we do offer in your area. Please contact Medicare.gov or 1-800-MEDICARE to get information on all your options.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Paramount Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Brown. The physicians at Paramount Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Paramount Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now, 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
Bring your family to the 4th annual Moolah Festival of Trees to experience a winter wonderland with over 40 exquisitely decorated Christmas trees with amazing gift packages November 19th through 26th at the Moolah Shrine. Purchase raffle tickets for just $1 for a chance to take home one or more of these creative and beautifully designed trees, including the gifts, which include toys, tools, sports items, kayaks, barbecue pits, gift cards, and even a complete HVAC system for your home. Tree values range from $500 to over $12,000. The Festival of Trees is an exciting Christmas event for all ages. You can take a souvenir photo with Santa Claus to capture a memory of the spirit of Christmas. And be sure to visit Santa's Cafe for some refreshing treats. Adult admission is $2. Kids 12 and under are free at the Moolah Shrine Center at 12545 Fifi Road. Details at moolah.org.
Get ready for a one-of-a-kind audio-visual experience. Timeless and everlasting. KMOX welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve, the best of TSO and more. Live in concert, 3 p.m. Saturday, December 10th at Enterprise Center. Don't miss this holiday tradition. $1 of each ticket sold to the 3 p.m. show will go to SSM Health Cardinal Glennon. Get full ticket and show details on the events page at KMOX.com.
KMOX News Time is 1:44. Donate a car, get a tax receipt, and tickets to the St. Louis Aquarium at mersgoodwill.org.
The holidays are upon us. Call Zero Res now before the rush. Get 3 rooms Zero Res clean starting at just $129 and get a free room of fiber protectant for an $80 savings plus $50 off your air ducts. Call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Furnish hope right here in St. Louis. Donate your unneeded furniture and household goods to Home Sweet Home. Visit www.homesweethomestl.org to learn more.
Business is difficult right now, putting a lot of good workers at risk. If you're a business that needs flexibility with your workforce and don't want to lose your best employees, go to sharedwork.mo.gov and see what the Missouri Department of Labor can do for you.
Hi, this is Ken.
And Laurie Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. We're dedicated to helping individuals and families work toward their financial goals.
Join us Sundays at 9:30 a.m. for Your Retirement Highway.
Investment advisory services by individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
You know that new sound you're looking for? Well, listen to this.
The show on KMOX.
All right, 146 on the show. Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores, Kevin Wheeler with you here. DGS coming up after the top of the hour news. Man, we had so bummed they had to cancel the big show coming up tonight, right? The Foxworthy Leno show.
Friday. It's this Friday.
It's this Friday.
November 18th. So we talked to Jeff Foxworthy, a couple months ago?
Yeah.
And he was a great interview talking about his show that he's doing with Jay Leno. And Jay Leno was burned in a gasoline fire.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's got all his cars.
3rd-degree burns.
Mhm.
Yeah, not good. I mean,
Yeah.
I think he sent out a message saying he's going to be okay and all of that, but still pretty big scare there. But the show that was scheduled Fox Theater this weekend, Friday night, is obviously canceled because the two of them were working that show together.
Yeah. The whole show has been canceled.
That stinks, man.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm not laughing at you. I was like, Amy was about to say it. We were going to go, were we not? Weren't we supposed to?
I was.
He invited us.
Yep.
He invited us to
to be in the
go backstage.
green room and
To be
everything.
his friends.
Yeah, I think we're his
I
friends.
think he said
now.
we could show him around town and stuff.
Did he say that?
I don't know. Maybe I made that up.
Well,
that might have been in my head after the fact. Like, he even said we could be his friends.
I think that we should be.
He'd like that.
How could you hate it? How could you hate being friends with us?
I could see it. I feel like
Oh, get
we're pretty
serious.
loud.
Yeah,
We're pretty loud. anyway.
No, we aren't pretty loud. You guys are very loud.
Well, I'm very loud. Yes,
You're very loud.
You're both loud.
That's me whispering right there.
I have proof
Mm-hmm.
that you are both extremely loud, and I have backup too.
Okay.
I got lots and lots of backup.
Let's go. Prove it.
Well, give me. I'll show you the receipt soon. How about that?
Sure.
And
That
this
sounds
isn't
good.
this is not like I'll release my tax returns in time.
Sure.
Like I'm actually going to do it.
I don't believe
I
you.
will. Yeah. Before the end of the week.
Oh my gosh, are we still on this?
And then on Friday, it's
I
going to
have
be
receipts.
Yeah.
before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
No, the end of this week.
Okay.
Receipts for all of you.
All right. Well, moving on since we've
I
established
mean,
that.
but I know I'm loud. What are we proving? I know this.
No, there's nothing that's being proved.
My paper ripped.
Yeah, I
right.
just shoved all of Amy's stuff into her face.
No,
Like all of her-
just
it-
onto the ground.
Onto the ground.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
it sounds too violent. People will think that you actually did that.
No, I would never do anything like that to you.
All right.
She's like, I'm not loud. I just like to knock people's stuff around.
Yeah. Now, we had talked earlier in the week that with the midterm elections, Donald Trump had a lot to say on his Truth Social, and he was commenting on some of the candidates who lost and why they lost. It was Don Baldock in, was it Pennsylvania? Or New Hampshire, and apparently he didn't deny the election enough, and that's why Trump was saying that he lost because he should have pushed harder for election fraud. But then you have the red wave that happened maybe exclusively in Florida, and with Ron DeSantis had a rather astounding victory, and Trump had attacked Ron DeSantis on Truth Social verbally, and Ron DeSantis hadn't responded yet, because I think, Ron, you had asked, right? Like, I think that day, like, if he would respond, and I said I don't think he would.
What you should do? Should you just let it
Yeah.
go or whatever?
And I was like, let it go. Like,
Well, he did have a response today.
One of the things I've learned in this job is when you're leading, when you're getting things done, yeah, you take incoming fire. That's just the nature of it. I roll out of bed in the morning. I've got corporate media outlets that have a spasm, just the fact that I'm getting up in the morning, and it's constantly attacking. And this is just what's happened. I don't think any governor got attacked more, particularly by corporate media, than me over my 4-year term. And yet, I think what you learn is all that's just noise. And really what matters is, are you leading? Are you getting in front of issues? Are you delivering results for people? And are you standing up for folks? And if you do that, then none of that stuff matters. And that's what we've done. We focused on results and leadership. And, at the end of the day, I would just tell people to go check out the scoreboard from last Tuesday night.
Oh, okay.
Look out.
All right. Well,
play it again.
Yeah. Scoreboard, huh?
I got no problem with that kind of answer. I do love the whole, I don't pay attention to any of that noise, but then
Except I know about all of
except
it.
that you air out
Yeah.
all the grievances. I always love that. I mean, that's a universal thing, though. We get that in entertainment and sports everywhere. It's just kind of we don't listen to critics, but I know everything the critics have said about me.
Have you ever watched, have you ever complained about a show or an artist like, oh man, I can't stand this person's music, or I don't watch this TV show? And you either have watched it and you're denying it, you've watched one episode, so you think you can comment enough on it.
You mean like you on Ted
You with
Lasso?
Ted Lasso, yeah.
I watched a whole season plus part of the second season.
Oh, okay.
That
Which-
should be enough
That's a lot.
to establish whether or not you like it.
Yeah, but that's my issue, is that you don't know what you're talking about. It's that you're so wrong about what you're talking about.
Okay.
That's a fair distinction.
Because if you watched
It's all about meaningful distinctions, Amy.
a
That's right. For
season
serious
plus,
conversation, Kevin.
if you've
You can-
seen a
I will
season,
tell you where you can stick your meaningful distinctions.
Right in
a
my pocket.
season plus of Ted Lasso, and then you decided this isn't very good.
Well, I thought
I
I
don't-
didn't. It didn't resonate with me. I can see how it would resonate with people, but for me, for whatever reason, art is subjective.
Because it's not the Golden Girls,
Well, that's one
and it's
big
not
reason.
Little House on the Prairie.
First
Ron,
of
did
all,
Amy do the thing where she ate like 80% of the meal and then said she didn't like it?
Oh yeah, and I've been a server.
that's totally different. You
I've been a
have
server.
to give a show a chance to win you over. I wasn't eating the meal and sending it back. I had to give it a chance. And in fact, it was like a friend, family saying, okay, let's try this. Let's make this let's see if you like this. And I tried and I didn't. But art is subjective. Music, film, comedy,
You're right.
it's all subjective. You can't blame me for this.
You're right, but you can be very wrong about something too. I don't really understand how you reach that conclusion. The show is not very good.
For me.
Okay.
I didn't do it for me. That's all I've said.
That's so weird.
Uh-huh.
Are you related to Jason Sudeikis? Because you're really invested in this.
Thank you, Kevin.
No, I'm not.
Is this
In
a
fact, he's
conflict
not
of
my
interest?
favorite.
He's great. I like him. I mean, like
he's
in
not
other
even my
things, I like
favorite.
him.
And actually, one of the reasons I thought I wasn't going to like the show is that he wasn't my favorite cast member on SNL. He just wasn't.
Yeah, I liked him on there.
And I saw the Tottenham thing that was done 8-9 years ago, which was the promo for NBC Sports getting Premier League soccer. And that's where Ted Lasso started. It was like a 4 or 5 minute video. And I thought, okay, that was okay. That was not bad. Kind of funny. I didn't think the show that came as a result of that was going to be any good. And then I watched it and I thought, this is great. And I look forward to each episode getting released.
Okay. Is there a music genre, a song, an artist, or a movie or television show, anything like that you're embarrassed that you like? Like you're like, oh man, this is bad. This is cheesy, but I actually really like it.
Ancient Aliens.
Are you embarrassed though?
No.
I feel like, yeah. Are you embarrassed about anything, Kevin?
Not so much.
No, because he thinks every decision he makes is the right one.
I know.
I just don't care if people don't like them. It's
What
a
about you,
beautiful
Ron?
thing.
You seem like a guy who's ashamed of a lot.
The thing I should be. I am. I'm ashamed that when Steve Moore said, "Hey, you want to work with Amy and Kevin?" I said yes. I should be ashamed of Ghost Adventures, but I'm not.
Yeah, see, you're not. You
I love
shouldn't-
it.
you
It's
shouldn't
so
be.
great.
Yeah.
It's
I was
so bad.
I was kind of a music snob, and I would put down like pop music, like just this the kids these days.
Wait, you were snobby?
Yeah, I know. Hard to believe. And I was tricked into liking Harry Styles. A former student sent this song because we would talk about music, and she sent this song to me and I listened to it and I'm like, yep, this is really good. And it was Harry Styles, Sign of the Times. And so then once I realized, once you break that barrier, now I just unashamedly say that I do actually like Harry Styles music. And it's pop. I mean, it's as pop as it gets.
I don't mind Harry Styles. He doesn't bother me anymore. Let me go back to Ted Lasso for a second.
Oh my gosh.
Because we don't know.
Oh my gosh.
All right. At this point, when the next season, the Ted Lasso season 3 is going to happen, may not happen until next year.
Will it happen
but
for
it leads.
sure?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Come on. It's a moneymaker.
Yeah, that's true. Low budget, lots of revenue.
Let me tell you this, Kevin. We haven't talked about this. House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
It's over for the year.
I know.
Do you realize we're not getting a new season until 2024?
Yeah. I'm sad.
Why does that take so long?
Didn't the
Look at the
Mandalorian?
magnitude of the production.
I know, but it's only like 10 You can't get 10 episodes done in a
Think
year.
about how long it takes a movie to get made.
Wait.
Like a movie is only 2.5 hours and it takes like 6 months.
Didn't
So if
the-
we're going to do 10 episodes, you're talking about 4 times the length of a movie.
Didn't the Mandalorian, isn't their break a year and a half? What was it
Oh,
from
easy, yeah,
season 2 to
easy.
season 3, which
Yeah.
hasn't come out yet?
Nope. Season 3 is not out yet. Dang
It's
it.
been at least a year and a half, right?
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, if a movie takes 5 or 6 months, why wouldn't a TV show
Look,
take a year and a half?
I need these people to get on it.
I'm with you on that. Go
Get
faster.
to work.
Yeah.
Get to work.
I
Hey.
want to see Welcome to Wrexham. Is that the name
Welcome
of
to
it?
Wrexham.
I
Yeah,
wanna
that
see
looks
that
with Ryan Reynolds
Didn't even
and
know
Rob McElhenney. Oh my God, you're stupid. Hey, listen to the show, KMOX.com. You can go back.
Go back
Odyssey
and
app.
what was it? Rewind it.
Yeah.
Skip all the Ranji parts.
Oh, quit it. Get the podcast, you fools.
That's a good way to go. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. Dave Glover Show is coming up after the news.
Dr. Travis Stork here to tell you about a great pain reliever called Salon Pass Pain Relieving Patches. Salon Pass is pain